Okay, so hey everyone, what's up? I'm Quicksand, your host for tonight, and I'd love to welcome you to the Victoris Rival Series. Easel's still going, look at that.
I can't believe it. He beat me.
It's a wonderful morning for me over here in Australia, and I hope it's a wonderful evening for you all at home. I'm joined by the wonderful Juggle God and Easel. If you couldn't tell, we'd be practicing a bit before the show. Thanks to the man himself bringing us without you, we wouldn't be able to do it, Juggle God. How are you going tonight?
Well, thank you. I am doing well. I'm very, very excited to be here tonight. I got to cast a little bit for Victoris last season, right at the beginning of it, but had to bow out for a little while, had some other obligations. So I'm excited to be back here and to be on the mic with you, Easel, and to meet you as well, Quicksand. First time getting to work with you. So that's exciting.
Yes, I want to say personally, sorry for any confusion I caused. I looked like a bit of a juggle god with how long I was going on the intro, but this wonderful man right over to my side is the actual juggle god. I'm just a humble Issa Leon. But with that out of the way, we can hop back into the actual Valorant analysis and introduction for these two teams.
Yes.
Yeah, well, let's start off. So today, we're starting off with Team Ambition playing against Comet Esports Club. This is the first two teams we're seeing at all for this split. There's so many different series and tournaments and crazy stuff going on. So they get to open it up with a nice little show. So yeah, Easel, tell us about these two teams. What are we looking at when we kick this off?
Well, being completely honest, week number one, there's a lot of unknown variables coming into this. Both the teams can, pull strats out of nowhere that we've never seen from them, especially, although some of them have played with them in the past, especially Team Ambition, they have given a previous run. They're looking to come back stronger, so we're going to see a lot of new looks from them, especially because they did make playoffs last time, but no championships. Right, Juggle God?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. They even played second, I believe, a little while ago, too. So second and fourth place for this team. So they consistently perform very, very high, right? But they just haven't quite been able to make it to that final echelon, to that final step, get that first place finish. So they're going to be looking to see if they can continue with that kind of dominance. But CEC, on the other hand, going to be a lot of interesting stuff from them as well. This is a team that I think is going to show us a lot of excellent aim tools. I think this is a team that we're going to see click heads tonight, right? This is a team that is just very mechanically strong. So are they going to be able to overcome kind of this teamwork and synergy that Team Ambition has coming into this series?
That's right. I don't know why everyone makes Valorant sound so hard. You just got to click on the heads, right? It comes too easily.
No. That's CSGO. This one you actually need to use your abilities.
Yes.
We'll see if they end up doing
use your
that.
ability, then click heads.
It's
a two-step process.
We need to write a wiki on this, man. I'm getting lost. Anyways, so before we get into all the crazy games going on, I'd like to introduce this series that we're running in. So this is the Victoris Rivals series. We've just heard the two teams that are coming in, and this means that all the teams and the players are capped at Diamond rank. So that's the highest they're able to go to participate in this competition. And then so they're all playing their groups that we're watching right now. And the top four teams from the two groups that I actually drew at the draft show, they're going to move on to the playoffs. And then in the playoffs, we'll go increasingly from best of threes to best of fives for semifinals and grand finals, which means those teams that come first and second place actually walk away with a massive cash prize. That's $400 for first place and a big hundo for second place. I was talking to Geoff. What do you guys call a $100 note? Like I don't know where you're from. Canada, the US. Is it like a Benji?
Go ahead.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't handled physical cash in years.
So from my time as a street performer, right? Because that's kind of how I got my start as a juggler. So it's my time from a street performer. We'd always call it a bill. We'd just say, I got a bill today. Yeah. Like when somebody drops a hundo in your hat, it'd be like, I got a bill. So yeah.
To me, a bill's more like $1, but I guess you
I know, but I think that was just the street performer, lingo there. Not really something that everybody says for sure.
I mean, we got coins here for our dollars, so it can get a little bit confusing when people bring up bills and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, it's so fancy. Whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Gold too. Either way, what do we want to look out for in these teams, Juggle? Like as we walk in, you did mention we're going to see a lot of clicking on heads because we're just walking into a brand new Valorant series. We might have some new audience members who are new to Valorant. They're wanting to learn more about the game. How do we analyze these teams? What do we look for when we watch a game of Valorant that stands out, like play styles? We have clicking on heads or ability-focused gameplay, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can also look at a lot of the timing of the teams, right? Because there are some teams who are really, really good at retaking site, right? So you're gonna have one team pushing onto site, they're gonna plant a spike, then the defending team has to try and defuse that spike, right? So a lot of teams on the defense, they can be very, very good at retaking sites. Some teams are really good at planting. Some are great at getting picks beforehand, playing very patiently. Some have kind of a rush mentality where they just push onto site as fast as they can, try and use their util to just clear site and get it completely under their control. So there's a lot of different play styles that you can see different teams utilizing, but they tend to fall into kind of these subcategories that I think I mentioned before.
Yeah, and in the case of this match, we're going to see that heavy rush, heavy execute, like Joko God mentioned, from Team Ambition specifically. We were talking to them before coming into this, and that's what they've prepped. So we might see a little bit of slow action at the beginning of rounds, but as soon as they get the go-ahead from their in-game leader or a pick to open it up, they're going to be on site, and they're going to be on site fast. So Comet Esports Club is going to need to be able to counter that, or at least have some amount of retake strategy to be able to adapt to it on the fly. And retake is not impossible. Even if players are picked up, you can use your utility and systematically deconstruct it one at a time. If you can isolate those aim duels, that's when you can look towards a favorable retake and getting the round for yourself on defense.
Well, not only are they going to be taking site quickly, but we might quickly have to move on to see what maps our teams are choosing. So I think it's just about time for me to leave you two to it. And I think we're going to jump into picking our maps.
All right.
Sounds
Well,
great.
Thank you so much, Quicksand. Appreciate the introduction, the hosting, and oh my gosh, yeah, look at this. We've already got several picks coming in for both of these teams. We've got Icebox and Breeze that have gotten picked already, and I wanted to just say both of these teams really like Icebox, so I was hoping that would be a map that we would get to see. In addition, ACT picked Breeze. This actually plays beautifully as well into what CEC wants to do. So I think we're going to have a chance to see both of these teams playing on maps that they feel very confident on.
Yeah, these are comfortable maps. These are maps that have been in the rotation. I am 100% not surprised that Pearl doesn't make it into the pick, being that Veto, and then Haven ends up being Veto just because of the multiple sites, which also makes sense because both of these teams like strong attacks, and they'll be able to do just that on Icebox, Breeze, and Ascent as the final decider map.
Not at all surprised to see Ascent making its presence known. I feel like it's almost not a Valorant matchup if we don't see Ascent. It seems so common recently, so not unexpected to say the least. So we're gonna be starting things out on Icebox. I anticipate we're gonna see a lot of these heavy aim duels happening between whoever's gonna pick chamber for either of these teams, right? Either on that A side on defense or B long. I think the chambers, the snipers that we're going to see coming out, going to have a pretty heavy impact on this game.
It's almost a guarantee. Every map, I'm like, maybe this is the map where teams will try a new meta or identify something new. But everyone's just going to use what's working. And even with the nerfs, we've still seen chamber picks come through time after time again. So like you said, I would not be surprised if the chamber pick came through on Icebox because he's hot still. He's still in the new. And from the side of Comet Esports Club, picking attack here, I'm not sure if we mentioned this yet, but they did win the Dragon D circuit recently, and so they're looking to come up off of that success and probably shut down Team Ambition off the start to show that they're strong, and not just in a different tournament, not just in maybe a smaller tournament. They can show up when it matters at Victoris Esports.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They're going to definitely be looking to build off that success that they had there. Stismo is the player that I'm going to be really keeping my eye on from CEC. So my question going into this is, who is ACT going to have that's going to be on the other end of those sites, right? Who is going to be the other player with the op? Because Stismo is absolutely going to be the person manning that gun for CEC, holding down these long sight lines, possibly even holding down mid, depending on what kind of strategy they go for. So yeah, my question is, who are we going to have from ACT that's going to go, toe to toe with Stismo on the op?
100%. 100%. The Dismal counter is going to be where they will be able to show that they have something else to show on defense. Team Ambition starting on the defensive side. We know that they're going to be taking these aim duels, but that's what Comet Esports wants them to do. And Team Ambition not being able to start off with their heavy executes is definitely going to favor Comet Esports Club. So it's interesting the way that ended up getting picked, ended up working out with the map picks, I suppose, with CEC being on tack. That's honestly going to be a huge advantage for them to be able to get that early round lead. So even if they're not able to come up on par on that defense, they will at least have some buffer room to figure out their strategy for that part.
Yeah, that's very true. And one of the going back to the the kind of the puzzle that I was mulling over before, as well as who are we going to see play Chamber, right, for ACT? It's not just because it's not necessarily because I just don't know which player is going to be there today. It's because they've got 3 players that have shown very high levels of play on Chamber. We could see Axrid playing Chamber. We could see Pike on Chamber. We could see Muggsy on Chamber. All 3 of these players have significant time and success with that agent. So it could be the kind of thing that maybe we see one player on that agent at first, and then they swap off for the next map if it doesn't work. They've got a lot of flexibility in who plays that Sentinel.
But beyond Chamber, I'm 100% expecting us to see maybe a Jet pick on this map. Because she's able to get that upwards mobility while also having sort of a get out free card in the same way that Chamber does. So I definitely expect to see that from both sides. And don't worry, folks, we're just about to get into the match. The teams were just getting situated. That's why we're talking a little bit more on the pregame, on the prep for coming into this. We're not just talking your ears off. We're actually just trying to get into the thick of it. And so, like you said, it's the Axrid maybe, or the Pike on the Chamber, but Axrid having a little bit better of a typical KD ratio when you're looking at, if you're really going to dig into the statistics.
Yes.
I would want to see Axrid actually on that duelist role to be able to lean into that a bit more rather than using the Sentinel as the duelist.
All right, and we are ready to kick this off now. We've got the agent select now. So, of course, Dismo hovering over the Chamber right now, and it is actually going to be Pike 6-pack right now with the Chamber for Team Ambition. But you were absolutely right. We do have Axrid on the Jet, so we are seeing them. We are absolutely seeing that agent.
I got to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back there. That was like 100% on key call. We had the agent select before it was even coming through, but we're not going to see that Jet coming from the Comet Esports side. They're not going to. Their only duelist is maybe going to be Reyna. Reyna, I'm not super happy about. Reyna's a very self-sufficient character, which in ranked is great, but this is team play. It's not just about having the best aim. When you're playing, you have basically identical ranks. You have identical matchups coming into this. It's going to be about how your strategies and how you can support each other. And I think that Jet can maybe provide a little bit more support with her at least her smoke at the bare minimum to be able to provide a little bit of coverage for rotations to come through or pushes to go out. So that's why I'm going to keep an eye on Stardust though and see if that actually ends up providing enough impact, at least through frags, because that's what Comet Esports wants to do, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. Now, something interesting I just have to call out is there is no Viper right now for Team Ambition, right? And that's a pretty big thing, I think to discuss, because Spark 6 is going to be playing it for CEC. So without that agent, I'm not sure how this is going to look for them.
Yep, they're playing out of the meta. When I was saying I wanted to see something different, like no Chamber, they took that a little bit of a different way and they went no Viper, which is really weird considering the way that B executes typically end up working out. So we'll just have to see how that is working, because they're not on offense, so they're not going to have to play into that. So maybe that's where these picks came from on the defensive side. They're choosing agents to play towards the half that they're starting, like I said, to give them the best advantage that they can coming into this first map, which the buys are coming through, and it's a pretty standard buy, I'd say.
Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary. We do see one shorty coming out, so that's interesting. We're absolutely gonna have somebody lurking around corners looking for cheeky kills. But the side push is going on to B, which is a little unusual as well, I feel like, first round. Typically you see an A side push, but they're taking it very, very slow. They don't want to give any indication where they're going yet. They've got the Owl drone out now. That's picked up Axe Rid. They're going to be forced back now. Chamber has to TP away as well. That's going to give up a lot of room now for CEC to start pushing up onto site and taking their place. They try to go for the wall, but Pike Sixpack peeks in and takes Vanny out. So that's a big pick right there. Spark 6 still going to be able to get the plant off, though.
Yeah, and Comet's still getting that wall up. The Sage has done her job on this B hit side. That's mostly what Sage people are picking that Sage in order to do. And now it just comes down to the retake where the shots are coming through back and forth as I'm talking right now. Stardust getting the opening shot.
That's going to be a quick 3v3 now. Trades coming in. A little bit of util thrown out as well. There's just Viper left standing. They come away from their spot. I don't know if they had a... I don't know if they had a lineup there, but look at this. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie. Ecobat finds them, though. Can they get the defuse in time? It's going to be close, Easel, but I think they're going to have it.
Yeah, a very exciting round to start off the bat. I liked those quick rotations from the side of ACT. They were on site and they were able to contest it, especially with Sage Wall going up. But what I didn't like is their trap play didn't end up working out. They had the Chamber waiting in the corner, and Jet didn't land the shots on the Owl drone. So the Owl drone was able to foil that right off the bat, and so they were forced to do that retake. But hey, at least they had a bit of a retake able to be done. And so coming into this next round, they have 2 Spectres, 3 Marshals. Looks like they're going to be looking to hold down these angles before it gets too late in the round. You don't really want to use these Marshals for retakes, so that kind of plays into the aggression that they're looking to have right off the bat.
You're absolutely right. They're going to look to be clearing sight with those guns completely. Ecobat, their Aldrone takes a little bit of damage from Stismo, who is still hanging out in spawn, waiting to see if they can catch one of the defenders, maybe getting a little aggressive. They don't even have the spike yet. They're just playing for a default at this point, Easel.
And it feels a bit in response to not getting that round. And the Marshal comes in good. Pike Sixpack getting the opening kill, the first blood. It's kind of making up for being pushed off the angle last round. Luckily, they didn't have the spike. Like you said, they left it behind in spawn. Another Marshal shot comes through. Wow. They're taking these duels before they can come to them. That is the advantage of these guns. And then it looks like another one's going to come through even.
One enemy remaining.
Oh my gosh, this is... I feel like they're just taking a page out of CEC's book right now, you know? Like, CEC is supposed to be the team coming out here winning these aim duels. But of course, they do have the gun advantage. So you expect it to go this way, but a flawless round, that's a statement.
The Marshals playing out the exact way that you want them to play out. They had enough map control and they spread it out. They forced CEC to be kind of scared coming into that round, so they're able to take advantage of those guns. They're not going to be as good coming into this next round with 3 Vandals and a Phantom on the other side of the board, but with a good crispy headshot, you can still deal enough damage to make it count and get the frags coming through on your side. It looks like CEC are going to go for a bit of that first execute, because that one almost worked as opposed to that slower spread out style that they tried last time. And I'm ready for an aim duel.
Yeah, let's see it. Pike Sixpack is ready to go. They are looking for heads, and one is about to peek out by the name of Stardust. So we're going to see if this duelist can get the job done here in just a moment. We hear the Owl drone coming out. That's going to clear things away for a brief moment. Pike Sixpack forced to back out a little bit behind Yellow, taking a slightly different angle than they had before. Going to go ahead and peek the main angle. Tries for a shot on the Sage, just barely misses. TP's back out. Now the Sage Wall going up a little bit better this time around. The plant does come out a little smoother for CEC.
But the spam's been coming through the Viper wall the whole time. A couple players got kind of low, and it's forcing the Sage to use her heal early, and not going to be able to use it until extremely late in the round. With the suppression coming through, they're going for that retake strategy, and this is where we're going to see how these this double initiator composition is going to allow them to take the space, especially with these aim duels coming left and right.
Wow, it's just going to be down to Bartowski now. See if they can keep things up. They're forced to travel through that Viper's, not the Viper's pit, but the Molly. This time, Bartowski doesn't check their corner, and Mars is there with the shot.
It almost ended up working out with that double initiator retake, but the rifles were just too strong on the side of CEC, so they're finally able to put themselves on the board. If you look at their economy, though, this buy is going to be a little bit rougher than they'd probably like. In fact, I don't think they're going to be able to get, well, just barely going to be able to scrape by. They're going to have that light shield, and so this is our first example of who is bringing the better the firepower. This is our first real head-to-head. You don't normally get it until really round 3 or 4, or sometimes even later in the game. But we're gonna get that right off the bat and see if they can replicate this success, or if Chamber's finally gonna be able to hold down Belong. Albeit, it's starting out rough.
Yeah, it is. They are able to get one pick onto Spark 6, so that's going to make the entry onto site very difficult, but the res does come in, so now they're able to get that Viper wall back up and in play. Sage wall goes up as well for the plant, but they have to look back for a moment to take out that Sova drone, and also make sure that they don't get killed through that wall. Mars finds Axrid on the flank, too.
Yeah. They just have so much site control because of the way that they're spread out and got these picks. Pyke is bringing them back into it a little bit, bringing it into a 2v3. Gonna make this one hurt though, but the flank is coming through, so if they don't defuse this quickly, they're just gonna get shot from mid, and that exact thing ends up happening with Vanny and Mars cleaning that one up. This retake is looking strong, and I kind of hate it because they're just using the default icebox composition with the Viper Sage on B-Long, and it works. I guess that's why it's the default.
No, you're absolutely right. They 100% are, and it's paying dividends right now, but they're going to abandon it, at least for the moment. At least it looks as though they are going to go a different way this time. We're going to see an A site hit for the very first time, really.
Definitely anticipating the aggression from the side of Team Ambition to be on A site because they've hit it twice successfully. Bartoski gets scanned right away and gets foiled. But they've actually predicted this as well, and they had 3 people waiting on A site. Bartoski does lose the opening duel, but now they have all 4 members here because they heard all this action and prepared for it, although Pyke misses the opening shot.
Yeah, that tour de force not landing like they wanted to. Now we're going to hear the Empress come out from Reyna as well. That's going to be a powerful force pushing onto point now. We're seeing the spike has been planted now. It's going to be up to Team Ambition to try and retake this, but Stardust has other ideas, taking out that tour de force from contention. Ecobat finds another as Vanny trades as well. We're going to have just Muggsy now, seeing what they can get done, and so far it's a reasonable amount, taking Stismo out of the equation, but the Molly has already landed on the spike. The lineups are there as well from Viper, so there's not much Muggsy can do, and wisely they opt to save their gun.
Yeah. Not much that they can do, especially when the Viper is in that position. You need to either kill the Viper early round or prevent her from getting into the post-plant position and apply some pressure back there. They're not able to do either of those, but they're able to at least get 2 guns off the board from the side of the Comets to make that round slightly more costly for being an eco. We are going to see, however, the op coming out from Pyke 6-pack. The Chamber op combo is the one that you want to see, and going to be how they're going to be able to turn this map around if they're able to counter this aggression. They have a pretty good read on what Comets are trying to do, and I think that they've been predicting which site they're going to hit pretty well, even if they were on an eco last round, as they are leaning slightly heavier towards the A side.
Let's see if this lean is going to pay dividends here. This time the defense just has 2 players up on A, but it's going to be Bartoski immediately detected, has to move out of the way, throw some smokes in as well to give themselves time to reposition and get to a safe spot and to allow the rest of their team to rotate over. Speaking of which, we're seeing Sova take a route through spawn potentially up behind CEC.
Yeah, this is a good flank pressure being applied on the side of Team Ambition to prevent this rotation coming through, which you can see they're trying to do. But Ecobat is completely aware of this, and well, now the op is there to make sure it doesn't happen, and it lands.
That it does. Mars taken back to spawn for a while now as Pyke 6-packs finds that shot. CEC gonna have a much harder time pushing on the site now, regardless of where they try to go. They do trade out, so they eliminate one of the defenders, but honestly, it's better for them, considering there's so few players on the side of CEC still left standing. Spark 6 able to find one, though, so now this looks like it could get pretty could go pretty well for CEC as Spark 6 even pops the Viper's pit as well.
Just like that, we're brought into the post-plant retake. They're going to need to isolate these aim duels and hopefully isolate Viper on the side of this pit. Sees the gun barrel, but Spark 6 sees them first. Now it's all up to Muggsy with just 30 HP and Reyna waiting on the other side. It's a tough task to call, so creeping around, but the longer you wait, the closer Viper gets to her post-plant comfortable positions. You can see her with her nade all the way out, and it doesn't matter because Stardust clears it up. We're seeing Reyna is having the impact. They're able to get enough picks that it's okay that they don't have smokes. They have the blind to get into the site, and that's been enough to support their team and to make the space necessary even without a KO even.
You're absolutely right. They have been doing phenomenally well for CEC so far. So kudos to them for making something a little bit off meta work. Can't say the same is going on though for ACT on the other side, at least at the moment. I feel like we're seeing some of the effects of not having that Viper, even on the defending side. You know, not having these defending walls to have the attackers have to push through makes things difficult, even though you do have those Omen smokes. But B site gonna be pushed up onto. Stardust able to open things up in a big way. That's gonna force Ecobat to back off as well, especially considering they got hit by the Sova dart as well. We're gonna see a very easy plant coming out, but Ecobat gonna try and push them off it with the Hunter's Fury. They're gonna give themselves a little time for the rest of their team to rotate over.
And a good pick, if you notice it on the flank. Omen got a nice frenzy kill, but Stisma was able to shut that down. Stisma being one of our players to watch, hoping that they could be able to counter that chamber pick. They're showing us they are able to counter that chamber pick. That is what we were looking to see from them. Muggsy almost lands the Marshall diff, but it's unable to happen. And just like that, back in a 1v4.
Oh yeah, this is pretty tough here for Muggsy. They've only got 20 HP. They only have a Marshall, so it's still worth it for them to try and maybe get a pick or two. But that's not going to happen in the end. And CEC brings the point differential to 3 now, Easel.
This is what I was worried about for Team Ambition. Coming into this map, we were talking a lot about how they have a heavy execute. They enjoy pushing onto sites and applying that, but when they're spread out like this on defense, it doesn't feel like they have the necessary utility and strategies to stop these pushes. I'm looking forward to what they have in offense, but I'm not liking what they're showing us on defense, especially because the only sentinel they opted to go for is Chamber, and Chamber barely has the utility to stop someone beyond the aim duel factor and the single trap.
Right, and we're seeing that play out just about every time, because even if Chamber is able to get a pick, right, you still typically see them TP out because the other team knows where they are, right? So they need to find a more advantageous position, but that just relinquishes so much side control to them. We're going to see Pyke Sixpack taken out again as Stardust open things up, but look at Axrid now in a beautiful position, gets 2, almost 3. We're going to have the res come in from Bonnie as well to get Mars back in the fight, giving a slight advantage in the kill feed now to CEC, but they're stuck in this Omen smoke right now. They desperately want to get this wall up to try and get the plant off. They take the risk, it pays off, they're going to get the plant.
But the Sova's on the plank, so if he can find the timing here, could actually open up the round for Team Ambition to be able to get back on the site. It's a duel of the Sovas back in spawn, but it ends up working out for Comets. He clears all the way the deepest corners that there are, and with Muggsy falling too, the round's up just like that. I just wanted to say they were able to get that trap play on the entrance with Jet hiding up in the corner. That did end up paying off, but because Comets have been able to get Sage to plant almost every time, and she's gotten 5 kills, that's the second res we've seen happen on B-Long. It doesn't matter that they're getting the opening pick or the trade, because it's like Team Ambition are playing with a 6th player in a lot of these rounds. And so because of that, they're able to just keep their people online, keep their economy healthy. Yeah, you get another tick on the scoreboard, but you get to keep your gun, and that's a huge deal.
It certainly is. And a huge deal as well, potentially, is this this score differential. We're seeing it just widen and widen right now from CEC. So ACT desperately needs to stop the bleeding right here. They need to find a way to prevent this team from moving on to site, but they don't really have the tools to do that. So these aim duels, especially from Pyke, I think really have to start paying dividends.
Team Ambition need to... I'd say stop taking the aim duels. What you're doing here...
Actually, yeah.
Be a little bit less ambitious and play on the sites. You can see Chambers waiting all the way back on B site, which they're going to try and hit again. And Muggsy peeks mid. It's just too soon. And so they're able to get the 2 opening picks and have the space that they need to get the Sage wall. And the plan is the same story every time. They're a broken record. in like the best way for them, though.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna see Axford now trying to take out somebody from above. They've got the Blade Storm ready to go. 4 knives still remaining. A beautiful shot from Bartowski from spawn, able to take out one of those players. Goes for a very aggressive TP, but Spark 6 is there to take them out of the equation, and that's gonna do it for that round. Once again, we've got a 5-point lead now for CEC.
A 5-point lead, and a round that quickly fell apart for Team Ambition. They tried playing farther back, but then when it came time to finally take the aim duels, they lost those too. They don't feel like they're as on point, and when you've just lost 7 rounds in a row, oh, the game of confidence is quickly crumbling, Juggle God. So they have the rifles on the board, but it's going to be a tough one to crawl their way back into. I really want to see them playing off of each other more, seeing those Omen smokes coming out sooner to stop this aggression regardless of the site. He does throw out that Omen smoke, but I want to see it set up for his teammates rather than just for that opening spot.
Yeah, give them a little bit more advantageous positioning in terms of in the map. Yeah, they're just throwing that smoke out a couple of times just to try and prevent, I think, that chamber from having any kind of sight line. But all that's doing is just forcing members of CEC to rotate along the ground. Mars has thrown out the Aldrode. Stardust opens things up with a pick onto Axrid, who's one of the star players as well for Team Ambition. So taking them out early on really opens things up beautifully. Vani with another one. They still have a 1-player advantage. We're going to see the Sage Ball go up for the plant as well.
Ahead. Spike planted.
The plant finally comes down, and in a 4v3 situation, Team Ambition have made this one possible. I want to see them trade off of each other as well. A good flash coming through, and Pike Sixpacks is able to capitalize off of that. They just need to clear Viper, which Pike Sixpacks does as well. Finally, they're in an advantageous position. It's just Sova in the post plant. Honestly, I would not want to be in their situation. The Sova post plant is tough.
Yeah, the Sova post plant is tough. They're going to be able to start to get the defuse. Ecobat finds the kill onto Mars, and that's going to be the round for Team Ambition. They have stymied the bleeding, at least for a moment.
And it is thanks to that trade that they had and the flashes actually maybe it wasn't intentionally for their teammate, but their teammate was able to capitalize off of it regardless. And so they're able to deconstruct that site take, and because it's Sova left in the last position and not Viper, they can afford to start to take a little bit sooner. But Comets, you can see, want to shut this down right away. They're like, wait. No momentum for you. We're going to let you stop and overthink perhaps what's happening here.
Yeah, they're gonna see if they can take the wind out of their sails a little bit via this pause right here. And I think it's a nice one. It's a very devious one as well, if that is what they're thinking, right? But I have to wonder, what they're chatting about right now was there a lot from that last round that they feel like they need to change based on how it went?
Personally, I don't think that was necessarily a bad round for them. I think that they just had too many people on site because they've had a good post plant. They've had a good, make them push us, not us push them once they get that site control. And because they had 2 people stuck under rafters on a site, they just didn't really have the numbers when the trades didn't end up going their way. And like I said, whenever I'm personally playing Sova in game and I'm left in that post plant and my teammates are like, ult, you're like, I can't really, they'll just push me if I ult.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sova was in a good spot to not get too terribly pushed, but the second that they pushed back, there was already someone there. So they did push. They just waited for the ult to come out, and Sova's post plant's over. The Viper Wall and Execute are going to come on to A, though, which there's only one person on. So it's once again, the Comets picking the right site.
That it is. We do see a quick rotation coming in, and this time they're sending through two through spawn, but Pike Sixpack taken out of the equation already. And I got a feel for this chamber tonight because things really not going their way right now. Ecobat finds one player, trying to push through onto B as the rotate does come in. Gonna try and hold back as long as they can. They're able to get a second. Vani now pushing through as well, but this time they find Ecobat and get the res.
The res once again just taking the wind out from Ecobat's sails. They're able to do so much, but it's still not enough because they're back into a 3v3. Maybe it was enough to make it a little bit more equal, but they're not able to get the advantage in any of these situations. Now with the retake quickly coming through, They got to get around this site. And we have Bartoski on the flank again. Finally.
Ooh.
Oh, I was going to say finally able to make it connect, but doesn't. It's shut down again. That's like 3 or 4 times they've been shut down on this flank. It's such a good idea. Comments are just so aware of it every time.
We're going to see the molly coming out now from Viper. That's a beautiful molly. I love that molly. That's a nice lineup. I'm a Viper smokes player myself, and I recognize that one. It's devious.
It's good, but it was just a little bit too late because of the distraction. Yeah. Although Bartoski wasn't able to make something happen on the flank, they gave them a bit more paranoia, a little bit more something to deal with, which is a good thing. And so the defuse actually was able to come through regardless of that molly and maybe their own health.
Yeah, exactly. Well, 4-7 right now as we get to the last round of the half. So what is this going to yield us? Are we going to see an 8-4? Are we going to see a 7-5? Regardless, CEC has to be feeling good about this because this is a defense-favored map, and they are already in the lead on attack. Ecobat trying to slow things down with a Hunter's Fury. Pike 6-pack comes in clutch this time with a tour de force, shutting down this push and maybe even forcing the rotation.
And forcing Comets to at least reconsider and be on the back foot for once. Sage doesn't have it online, and Axford gets that pick to shut down the aggression into A. So they're forced to go mid, but there's 2 players watching there too. They have an op, it feels like, at every location because Pike 6-packs had a good rotation, but Vanny gets the pick onto them and shuts down that push and gives them a little bit of space to work with coming up this mid.
Yeah, they're going to try and take this through the tunnel here over to B, and they're going to be able to do it right around this Sova. But now Axrid is aware that they're potentially doing just this. They've got their sights locked in. They're going to see if they can catch someone in the rotation. They hear a little bit of gunfire, but Vani going to be able to swing and find the kill onto Axrid. Now it's a 2v3 situation, much better than what CEC was looking at before. They're going to go for a plant. Out towards the front, we've got the wall coming up as well, but I don't think they're aware that Ecobat is there for the kill and to make it a 5-7 half.
Ecobat, the unsung hero of the half, getting these, that's 2 rounds in a row they've gotten these extremely important kills. They're not the top fragger. Wait, that's it. They are now because of those kills. Because of those important kills. And it's not that they have a lot more kills than everyone else. It's that they've gotten the ones that matter, the ones in the late round and the ones to shut down, the adjustments that were attempted to be brought through on the side of the Comets.
Got a frenzy coming out too. This is interesting. Anytime I see a frenzy come out, I get a little excited. I don't know. It's a curious gun. And so I'm gonna be curious to see what Muggsy does. Yeah. What? Tell me.
It makes sense because we've been looking forward to this heavy execute play style, and they're not about the aim duels. The frenzy's not about aim duels. It's about the heavy execute getting in their faces and just shoving the frenzy in it.
Well, let's see if they're going to be able to do just that. Muggsy actually is able to do just that, taking Spark 6 out of the equation immediately. Stardust finds another, so that's going to be a quick trade, but the spike has already been planted in very, very quick fashion. Stardust comes around, finds another one with some assistance from Vani, who picks up another. It's going to be CEC just taking care of everything and getting the defuse.
Well, that retake was incredibly fast. We were looking forward to Team Ambition's offensive half, but maybe we should have been looking forward to what Comets had prepared for us on that retake, because they were, I don't know how much they know about their other teams, because this is week 1, so take this with a grain of salt. But given that Team Ambition is more of a heavy execute team, maybe they've just been focusing on preparing these heavy retakes, not fighting for the site as much as fighting to take it back, and putting themselves always in an advantageous position. But something that's really interesting here, we're seeing a full buy from both teams. It's not a single buy up. Both of them are looking to contest this next round. Whew, that's a lot to gamble.
That is, but you know, when we saw the save round go the way of the saving team in the first half as well, so it does make a little bit of sense if we think about it historically, just within the context of this game. We're going to see the Sova, or the KO knife thrown out. Bartoski going to be good for 1 kill, but traded out by Vani. A lot of push coming out from CEC. They are going to be able to get the plant, even despite being down 1, or ACT is able to get it out. CEC down 1 member now for this retake.
And now Team Ambition have been able to get set up for this post plant. We haven't seen this yet, and I like how they're all playing really forward, but this is going to allow them to trade off of each other and react to the utility being thrown their way. A good scan and a good move by Pyke to get a pick before falling back. But just like that, we're brought to a 2v2 and now a 1v2.
Oh my gosh, and Spark6 might have gotten just a little bit greedy there with the molly and the smoke. They end up getting taken out, and yeah, that ended up working out really well for Team Ambition.
Yeah, the force buy, it's not a bad idea on second rounds, given that you know that you're not going to be going up against very many rifles. So your Spectres will be able to have some decent impact on Marshals. And now they can carry them into the next round and do something with it here. Perhaps get a little bit of momentum for themselves for maybe the first time in this game, other than the 2-3 rounds they've put together.
Right, yeah, well, we'll just have to wait and see. They're going to go for a very quick push onto B site. Viper's Wall already up, going to cause them a little bit of problems, but the Spark6 goes for a very aggressive play, having already been spotted by the Aldrin and pays for it, and that's going to give site completely over, practically, with the help of Axford now completely to ACT.
Axford getting space, which I like to see from that jet pick, but the peek out of the smoke while reloading might have been a bit of an overheat moment. But I'm glad to see these Omen smokes finally having good impact, blocking off the sight line and forcing them to get all the way up in their faces before being able to do anything, not being able to take those early duels. And oh, that's a beautiful blind that allows Bartoski to be taken out.
Now we've got just a couple of players remaining. It's Pyke 6-pack now seeing if they can keep the spike safe. Oh my gosh, they take so much damage down to just a little bit of health, and that's going to be a headhunter to take 6-pack back to spawn.
Yeah, it's Dismo maybe not having enough of a counter on the side of Team Ambition. There's been some show from Pyke 6-pack, but that was a clean shot, and to be honest, a good, solid, convincing shot that makes me toss my coins on the side of Stitsmo's chamber, and it looks good. Like, it looks nice. And the kills are coming through on the side of Comet's side, just because they've won these extra rounds. And so Team Ambition are going to have to put something together on this scrappy buy to prevent Comets from getting to double digits.
Yeah, that they are. And given just how dominant we've seen CEC be in some of these situations, it's going to be tough. They've got the read as well on where the sight hit is going to come in. But look at this Omen versus Sova duel happening in mid potentially. We've got them starting to find each other. We see the shock dart thrown out. Now Bartoski caught in a very rough position, and Sova knows it.
The regular comes through though. Oh, the tough position, applying this pressure to make a little bit of space for his teammates to work with and distract them a little bit so they don't have too tight of a hold on site. Although their economy is still pretty crippled from the previous round, so it's going to be a tough gander to get out there. A good dart from Soa, but they're kind of in a rock and a hard place. I'm surprised we're not seeing more aggression from Comets on the flank here. Look, they're not looking to take any map space. They're playing very passively, and I guess respecting Team Ambition, forcing them to make the move so that way they just play right into their hands.
Yeah, it's starting to make me wonder if they don't actually have an idea anymore of where this team is. Maybe they've lost track of them, right? Because they are playing so spread out. But now we start to see this rotation through mid. When there's less than 20 seconds to go, they know that it has to be a hit on whichever side we hear them on. It's going to be the Lear coming out, seeing if they can get a little information. Peak coming out as well from Ecobat, taking down about half their health. They've got just about 10 seconds left to plant. They're going to have to push on quickly. Stismo covering the standard plant site. That's going to be Ecobat down. Just a couple more seconds. Muggsy not going to be able to get to the spike and get the plant off, and oh my gosh, Team Ambition, they just took a little too long.
And running for their life, trying to save this gun and give them something to work with coming into the second part of this half, because like I said, Comets are now at double digits, just 3 rounds away from taking this first one and doing it pretty quickly. Team Ambition have been in this tournament a couple times, and I can't help but wonder if they perhaps haven't made enough changes to be able to adapt. They have previous film that can be watched of what they do, and maybe they're falling back on the old habits here. You can see also though, they're trying to do some adaptations with the jet being the op. It's not the chamber op. The shot almost lands through from the other side, but it's an interesting change. There, maybe to me that feels like a doubt in your chamber's ability when you stop giving them the operator.
Oh yeah, you know that's an interesting point. Maybe, yeah, maybe that is indicative of something. CEC having a very hard time though with this push. Spike going to be planted with relative ease. They've still got a couple of ults online too, and Mars and Spark 6, not going to be a whole lot that they can do here, I don't think.
But they're still going to go for it because they have the stronger economy, or they were at least trying to inflict a bit of damage before they call it quits, at least looking for these exits. Or maybe not. You always try and call it as you see it, but it changes constantly. And they do end up falling back way deep into B site. I don't think that this round is the necessary red flags ring the bells for Comets that they've lost control of the map. I think that was just we finally saw a good, strong execute from Team Ambition. They finally showed us what they were talking about coming into this map, and they were able to all swing simultaneously, and Sage could not deal with that much pressure. So maybe putting Jet on the op was the correct decision. I'm sorry to say that, Chamber. Sorry, Pike. You had your good try, but it's time for old Jet op to come back into the meta.
Yeah, it certainly could be. And Axerid, we know, is just a very, very solid player for Team Ambition. And, you know, some days the shots just don't hit. You know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, no fault on them.
yeah, exactly. When you're playing such a high risk, high reward game, and in addition, Agent, you know, just some days it's not hitting. So good luck to them. Hopefully they'll come back on it, maybe even in the next match. Sometimes you just need a brief reset, but Stismo's getting a reset that might take a little while longer, considering they were the first blood drawn.
And Axerid just continued to wait up there, even with the drone coming through, applying that pressure, almost finds Silva's head, but eventually gets shut down by Spark 6. Spark 6 doesn't have a lot of kills so far in this match, but that just shutting down the operator might be enough to keep them as a valuable asset in this half, giving them a foothold back into this round as the execute looks like it's going to quickly come down onto B site.
That it is, but right now the spike is behind yellow, so it's going to be very, very hard for them to push out to it. And with Pike 6-pack having to TP back as well, this is looking a little bit tougher, but they've just made it easier with a pick on Devani. It's going to be Omen now throwing out a little bit of smoke as well to try and keep the keep CEC from being able to push out onto site and take a little bit more room. Stismo now holding an angle, got to be able to find a pick onto Ecobat, waiting now to see if Pike 6-pack decides to peek as well, but no, they're just going to get out of dodge. And I think we're going to see a very rapid rotation, but I'm not sure they have time.
Yeah, wait, Reyna's been waiting in spawn this entire time.
Gosh.
She's maybe been there for the last 45 seconds and shuts down the rotation before it can even come through, able to reposition to a better angle too. Oh my god, this round's just gone into absolute chaos with the spike being down in their own spawn with 9 seconds. There's no time left. The only hope they have are to find these picks, and I think they might just be too spread out to make that happen.
Yeah, I think they are, and CEC knows that they're going to be able to pick up their 11th round win, and now there's just 2 separating them from going up early on in this best-of-3 series.
There's 2 separating them because of the adaptation, because they noticed we have a pretty good idea that they're going to be hitting B site, so let's leave someone in their spawn for literally half the round. I kept looking at Reyna down there like, okay, wait, they're not AFK. That's the wrong spawn. No, okay, okay, this might play out. They left them there because they were trying to be not only adaptive but predictive, and that's really good to see from the side of Comets. They stack a little bit heavier towards A site, but thankfully it is a default, so they're not going to be punished too heavily for that.
Push coming in, Stardust able to get 1 pick and now back off. It's gonna give some pause now to see to ACT. Gonna make them think about which way they want to move. We're gonna see a stage wall thrown out as well. I'm not sure what that one did right there, but yeah, didn't have enough time to take a peek at it. But at the moment, it doesn't really appear to matter because right now they're just taking so long to wait to push onto site. That sage wall just might be down by the time they get there.
The importance of that Sage wall in particular is to be able to leave Reyna alone on the site and for her to be able to hold an angle where she doesn't have to reveal too much of herself and can watch the only way in that they would be able to push. So just being able to rotate people to get a little bit more feel of the map, and now they're rotating back. So by the time the wall goes down, yeah, sure, it's not going to see much contact, but it let them have a little bit more flexibility when figuring out what exactly was happening in the round. And now the execute's trying to come through, but Vanny being such a valuable asset.
30 seconds.
Yeah, they've
left.
really, Vani has been tremendous. They've been the definition of a battle stage, I think, this map.
Yeah, for sure.
Comes in with a pick on the Stismo. Breaking, I think, their dry spell a little bit. Stardust finds one in mid, too. CEC now with a little bit of an advantage here. We're going to hear the spike get planted. Muggsy tries to take one out, but Vani is a little bit better with their shots. Once again, that's going to be the defuse for CEC, and we are on match point now, Easel.
Yeah, it's honestly, we haven't seen enough from Team Ambition. Maybe I'm just not sure what to say because both of them were very confident coming into this map. I expected to see something incredibly close, maybe even in overtime, because they're both just so confident coming into this. But Team Ambition haven't been able to find enough adaptations, enough cracks. They've had a few lucky rounds, but like I said, that round where they got on the site and they had all 5 people around, it felt like things just happened to click. It didn't feel like they had figured it out necessarily. I was saying I don't think Comets should panic, and they definitely didn't. They just kept doing what they were doing before that round, and it was able to keep paying off, seeing as how they're now at match point.
Yeah, it really has, and you know, you're absolutely right. It was just a brief hiccup, a brief bump in the road for them, as they're about to make this potentially a 13-7 game. That's practically doubling the round score, right, of Team Ambition. So Team Ambition, they had some moments of brilliance, or they have had some moments of brilliance in this map, but now their backs are absolutely up against the wall, and there is no more room for error for them. And frankly, I think this is going to go the way of CEC. I think it has to at this point, but if Team Ambition is going to make a run for it, it's got to be perfect.
I would love to see them bring them back. In fact, I would be incredibly hyped. I'll go straight into my hypecaster mode if they're able to do that. But CEC have a good read, and we could see kind of from the pings that were coming through on the timeout that Team Ambition are looking to do a bit more of a B hit. They've read the situation correctly. They've read how much pressure they're having applied on A. This trick play, you can see that Sage wall coming out on A main. They've read that sort of pressure, and so now they're only going up against a Viper who has a good wall, but that wall is technically going to give them some good solid space to get behind that yellow box. It doesn't even go up until a little bit too late, so they know exactly where Viper's hiding.
Yeah, they've got a read on her very well, but now with that Viper's wall up, she could opt to rotate, but instead is just sticking around on Snowman. Vani now caught in a difficult position. They know there's somebody up there. They go for a little bit of a wall bang, don't find anything. A shock dart goes in to try and do some damage, but doesn't land either. Bartoski now making a rotation back through mid, but doesn't find anything except death. Ecobat now with the Hunter's Fury coming out as well. It's a 4v4 as Team Ambition gets control of site. Ooh,
just barely. Oh, Chamber gets out with their life. There's good adaptations coming through from Comets, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to hold the round because Ambition have a lot of map control. Wow. And then Stardust dismantled it just like that. Down to 2 people behind yellow box and 1 behind box. Oh no, it's falling apart, Juggle God.
Muggsy has just one thing left to try, and it's not gonna work. Mars gets the defuse. That's gonna be the game for CEC.
Defenders win.
They weren't able to bring it as far as they wanted to. A couple good looks. They almost had that round. They were almost able to bring it back to something tangible, but it just wasn't quite there. From the side of Ambition, going into this next map, though, I want to immediately hop to that because that's their only shot. They are going to need to either figure out whether they are an offense or a defensive team and at least be solid at one of those.
Right, exactly. And right now, CEC, they are looking solid at both of those. So this is gonna be a pretty tough thing for them. But we're gonna be headed into Breeze next, and right now the aim tools seem to be going very heavily the way of CEC. So I think it's likely going to be their advantage. They're going to be the one that I think is favored in this upcoming map.
And we have a Twitch poll that has been running recently, and that just finished coming through. I want to say the people were on the side of Team Ambition, but Comets were able to show they're not just a small tourney team. They're here to make a run through all of groups and make it into that final, the playoffs, the big prize money, the big bucks, as you would call them, the $100. And we had Stardust. Yeah, I had my doubt in Stardust coming into that map, but they were able to provide huge impact for their team, having a fight, finishing with a 22 and 14 KD, almost a 2-1. Are they a Smurf, or is this their main? I know it's a diamond only lobby, but they make it look pretty easy.
Yeah, they certainly did. But oh, it looks like we've got a Quicksand back now. Hello, welcome back. So what did you think of all that?
Yeah, I was watching you guys on stream, and the game's still playing. I should have hopped in earlier. My apologies, but the final round's going off right now. I gotta say, I was too engrossed in what was going on, because this game was so interesting to watch. Because after we had interviewed some of the players, I know Juggle God went out and had a quick discussion and got some information from some of the players. And I thought the most interesting thing that came out of this game was two things, seeing compared to their interviews or the information they gave. And the first thing was that both teams actually said Icebox were their favorite map.
Yeah.
So to see CEC take this one must have been a big blow to Axe confidence. I mean, how does that feel, losing your favorite map?
I was saying, they need to GG go next immediately. They're seeing what happened there and being like, okay, that was not supposed to happen, and they need to figure out these adaptations, and before the next map even starts, they don't need to be adapting in game. They need to completely overhaul how they're responding to the pressure that's being applied by Comets.
Yeah, that's true. And that is quite the task, in just the few short minutes that we're going to have for a break. So that's quite the overhaul that you're going to have to make. And then one thing else I noticed about both of these teams is neither one has a coach. So this is going to be all on the players. There's no coach coming in and giving that pep talk or whatever. This is going to be the players discussing it and figuring it out on their own.
So Quicksand, I want to ask you, actually, I know you're the host, but watching the games, what do you think was falling apart for Team Ambition?
Oh, man. Okay. Well, I was about to bring it up as the second point. Okay.
Oh,
Team
yeah.
Ambition. Yeah. Team Ambition. I saw people talk about it in chat. I saw the way CEC mentioned it in their interviews, and it was that CEC said that they follow a lot of professional comps, and they don't really experiment outside the box. And you saw people who had big environmental control. That's someone like Viper, someone like Sage, people who can bring up their walls, they can deny area. Now, the problem is Act didn't have that, and that felt like an issue. Is it normal to see a team without that much area denial? And I think that's what affected them. Was that the case?
I think so. It was something that immediately caught my eye, right? When we were in the agent select screen, right? The fact that there was no Viper and no Sage, right? That just seemed to be a pretty big red flag to me. And I think it showed to be a pretty dominant factor here, because, so many times we saw Pyke try to hold down B, right?
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it nearly as well as Spark 6 with just a wall.
I was wondering when we saw that agent composition come through, whether they had some cool strats prepared for defense. But really in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, no Viper, no Sage. They're going to be doing some hard executes on A site, because KO's going to be able to flash around these corners, molly out some locations, and play off of that. But it didn't feel like they played into that aspect of the composition either. So they tried something new, and well, it fell a little bit flat. And we do have some clips of how Comets performed in that, so we can roll into that and get a little bit of reflection on how well they performed in this map.
I'm keen to see how this turns out as well, because as we run into see these clips, the thing that I thought was the most interesting is that both teams actually also said here's the replay. Yeah, I'll let you guys take this one.
No, keep going. I just that TP, that Omen right into the gun barrel. It's a classic.
Yep.
So
yeah, you were saying?
You take this. I was going to say, well, while we watch the replays, you'll see in this moment that both teams actually expressed differently. The one team, which was CEC, said they felt they're more confident in their gunfights and their individual play, while Actor was more confident in their team play. And you'll see, I mean, through a lot of the highlights, CEC was looking for individual gunfights. Stismo just headshot after headshot after headshot. And you see it so many times with these guys. They're confident in their gunplay.
You know, that's such a good point too, Quicksand, because you know, just aside from the fact that CEC said that, you know, they were looking for duels, they even said in their, you know, when I was talking to them, they were going to be looking for advantageous duels, right? So they were looking out specific players that they thought they had a read on, right? That they thought they had an advantage on, and they were looking to take them out of the equation first. So very, very a deliberate kind of gameplay that we're seeing come out from Comet, and I really like it.
Yeah, they're just going to have to, Team Ambition is going to have to play deeper on the sites. Like I was mentioning during the broadcast, they need to play deeper, and they need to be able to be responsive together, flashing for each other, smoking for each other. I didn't see a lot of that from Omen until they were finally on attack. He didn't feel like he really helped both sites on defense, and just using an agent comp that sets them up for that.
On that note, I think we're almost about to load into our next game in just a couple minutes, but Juggle, Easel, both of you have been on top of your voices, and I think you need some water. Just a second recover, and I think our players need a moment to reorganize, get more confident, as you mentioned, perhaps overhaul some strats, discuss what they're going to do in the next map.
Book.
Yeah, pull out the strat book, get some notes down, you know? So we're going to jump to a quick break, and we'll see you guys in just a second.
just like that, we're back in it. It's Easel and Juggle God on the mic talking about all the action that's being thrown down between these two teams, or maybe from Comets just onto Ambition to receive. Looking to get a little bit more of that back and forth on this next map.
That we are. We're going to be headed to Breeze, which I think honestly is going to show us a lot more of the same in some ways, right? We're going to see, I think, these gun duels being a primary factor in how this map is going to go.
Yeah. And I'd say Comet Esports is probably going to look to keep on continue to taking these duels, especially with the Stismo staying on that chamber. I am interested. Stardust is on the Neon instead of the Reyna. Probably looking to do a similar thing though, just looking to make space by deaths. Looking to make space just by taking out the other team, because Neon is once again one of those agents that is just good at dueling for themselves. And so we got that, but these are pretty similar compositions. We're probably going to have the KO instead of the Sky, but that's almost the same sort of flash capabilities, except KO's not going to provide the same level of intel, which is going to be interesting to see on the side of, that's Team Ambition on the left side. No, Comet's on the left.
Yeah, that is going to be interesting to see. One thing I think, though, that Mugsy is going to provide on the KO is a possible counter to Stismo on the chamber, right? Because if they can get close enough with a knife, if they can get close enough with a null command, they can just take that tour de force, that headhunter out of the equation. And we saw how important that was in the last map.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was leaning into, is just the way that these agents are going to set themselves up. We were talking a lot about how Team Ambition were setting themselves up with their own agent picks, and it looks like they've gone for a bit more standard pick this time. We see the Viper on both sides of the map. People are like, oh, that sucked playing against Viper. We got to have that in our own lineup going into this next one. So we do have that. Maybe Bartoski does have a little bit of lineups. They had a lot of good ideas when they were playing Omen, but just a lot of the times it didn't quite end up adding up. So maybe Viper with the decays and the mollies is going to put them in advantageous situations to spray down the opponent, or just get a dink off to kill them out, without needing to necessarily take these aim duels, which aren't going in their favor as much.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think they are going to be looking to, make sure when they swing with a couple of people this time around. Bartoski now in mid gets flashed by Mugsy, who was pushed out very aggressively. Going to be a nice pick there from Axrid onto Vani to open things up for Team Ambition, who is now taking rotation over towards B, but they're going to be met by both Sova and Chamber.
A quick rotation, but the rotation has also come through on the side of the Comets. The right click comes through strong, and because there was a pick on A side that actually pulled them back a little bit, and Comets don't know what to make of this. Stismo does bring it back a little bit, but finally they're able to get a read and get the people on the correct site. So they need to keep doing what they've been doing and have these shots come through. But that chamber nerf is already hurting Stismo. They're back to using their classic, because they already used, what, all 4 or 5 chamber bullets that they can potentially have, because it costs 150 credits per bullet. And the classic's not going to be quite as good for getting back on the site as Headhunter potentially would be.
No, it's certainly not. So I think with the way Stismo is looking right now, they're just looking to get exit picks once again. They see it's a 4v1, that they're not likely going to be able to take this round. So maybe they can do some econ damage, but Bartoski says no.
And I'm so happy to see this map go the way of Team Ambition. Whew, they have some ambition. That's a bit of a reset round for them. A bit of a, okay, wait, we're still in it. We have a chance. And now with the good gun buy coming through, a rifle on Bartoski and several marshals, that's going to be a very solid buy, especially on Icebox. That's such a big map that those marshals can make a big difference. We do have a hero rifle coming out on the side, or hero marshal, I should say, on the side of Stismo, but it's on the other side of the map, so they shouldn't have to worry about that for a good while.
No, they shouldn't. This side execute probably going to come in pretty quickly here. We see the Viper wall come up as well. The Owl drone getting a little bit of info. Spark 6 with a beautiful lurk right here. Let's see if they're going to be able to get anything from it. Pike 6 back, not looking over there at all at the moment. Completely unaware of where Spark 6 is. The question is, can they get the shot when it matters? Oh my gosh, Spark 6 moved around the corner right at the perfect moment, and Spark 6 gets caught out. What a play. What a way that just happened.
Yeah, we're already seeing good ideas from the side of Comets, but they weren't able to make it execute, especially with that classic. And now it's Dismo who has the hero. He has the hero Marshall, but Axrid is warmed up from that previous game. They weren't able to bring the Team Ambition to the finish line, but they did give them a fighting chance, and we can see that already. That Marshall shot cleaning it up.
Now, I believe this is how the first game started. 2 rounds went to Team Ambition right off the bat.
Oh no, don't say that. Team Ambition did not need to hear that.
All right, well, forget I ever said anything. Team Ambition going to see if they can ride this momentum that they've built off of those first 2 rounds, but they're going to be coming into some Spectres and once again a Marshall. So, or rather, they're going to be coming into a full set of rifles, so this is going to be tough.
Yeah, it's just a bonus, so they're just looking to get some sort of impact out of this. A crazy dart lineup all the way into the back of B site, so that way they don't have to peek out. And it does give them good information. They know that the site is, for the most part, clear, and they're at least going to be able to get a little bit of space, even though there is a little bit of aim duel to actually make that happen. And so the spike does end up going down. Oh, okay, the spike does go down. Sismo doesn't do too much. Oh, but it is costly.
Yeah, it is Axford who's down though. Again, one of their top players. So that's a pretty big deal right there. And in fact, I think even Axford, who was it?
I think Chambers just watching Viper in mid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What is this? Oh my gosh, look at EcoBat just gunning down both Mars and Stismo. Vanny now able to get them out of the way. Stardust going for the defuse. Bartoski gonna have to peek this really quick. They do get the kill. Can they get the second? They're gonna try and keep that spike from being defused. They got the molly off. It's going faster and faster. They get the second molly. There's nothing they can do. The round goes to Ambition.
That round had so much to look at. There was just so much happening in every different parts of the map, which is good to see from Ambition. They're getting a little bit more map control. I had to interject because there was that really weird encounter happening in mid.
Yeah.
Like you could see both of their players within like 20 meters of each other for like 10, 15 seconds. I'm not sure if one was just watching the other, hoping for another opening. Eventually, it does work out for Ambition. So they're able to make the most of that. And Bartoski 6-1, looking much better than they did on that Omen, and now their economy's looking much better too.
That it is. They're likely going to go to a 4th round win here. And you know what? This did not play out like last map at all. That round didn't. So they've broken at least that trend. So already things looking up for Ambition. Yeah, exactly. Actually going to be forced back a little bit because of that guiding light. But they're still keeping some presence in mid, and in fact, the spike has moved up there as well with Sova. So I think we're going to see an A site hit here, which is interesting because look at what KO's been able to do on B. They've been able to get so much of the aggression over there that A site is practically completely open. Bartoski, though, with a pick.
Yeah, you could see them trying to figure out if they wanted to smoke off that chamber trap or just sort of hold the angle so that they didn't give too much away. Eventually, it does make its way out, but there is good map control coming on the side of the Comets with Skya all the way deep in A main, as at least giving them the information. And now that they've fallen back a bit, Comets kind of have there it is, the map control coming in strong, and Sky really solidifying that, getting a gun upgrade for the round. It's looking a little bit tougher for Team Ambition to pull themselves back into this, except if they just hit their shots like that.
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, it's a 3v2, and they have the advantage. Spike going to be planted relatively easily. That's going to be a nice shot from the Headhunter, or rather from Vadi with that Sheriff. And can they make this work? Oh my gosh, yeah. They had no idea. Muggsy catches them completely unawares. Now it's just the chamber left to try and retake site. But they know where he's coming from, and he's only got 5 HP.
It's going to be a big call, and maybe just going for exits once again, or at least a pick. No, that one never worked out. Muggsy shuts that down. I do like on the side of Comets that rather than having the Sage pick, having the Sky pick, because although we saw Vanny pull out some Sage heroics, some battle saging, Sky is going to really enable them to pull up that extra edge and continue to. They're feeling it. Obviously, they're top fragging right now. They were doing amazing last game, so it's going to enable them to capitalize on that. But on the flip side, Stardust seems to have lost all the wind from their sails 4 rounds in and not a single kill. Same thing from Mars. It just looks like they might be leaning a little bit too heavily on Vanny after that performance.
Yeah, maybe they are. They're resting on their shoulders. Their back must be hurting a little bit. Stardust gonna be able to break their dry spell with a first blood. So now Team Ambition pushing in, but from a disadvantageous position. They're gonna stop. They're gonna use the Viper's Pit as well to get them onto site to prevent that tour de force from having nearly as much value as it did even a moment ago.
And they've gotten onto site, but they don't have any map control. Look at that. They're exclusively on A main or B main and right behind it. So Comets are able to kind of surround them and get the opening pick to start off this retake.
Seekers have gone out as well. That's going to make things a lot easier to deal with in terms of that Viper's Pit. We're going to see Bartkowski caught very far behind. They're going to be taken out, and that will be the first round for the Comets.
What just worked good for Comets is that Ambition didn't go for any map control that round. They went on to B site, and then they were stuck there. They didn't apply pressure anywhere else, so Comets were completely concentrated. And I think that might be Ambition getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, if I'm going to be honest. They didn't play that round with any huge team strats. They played it with a Viper's Pit.
Right. Yeah.
And so Comets had a lot of control. So if Comets can continue applying that space, we've seen them get that space in A main, and we've seen how they wrapped a little bit through mid that round just in case too, then they're going to be able to start converting these rounds more often than not.
Push is going to come out onto A site. We hear the overcharge coming out from Neon as well. They're taking their way through mid, but they could be running out of that ult any time now. Hunter's Fury goes out. They catch one player. Can they find the Sky? They're able to successfully duck and dodge. That is until Muggsy finds them with a molly. Ecobat with the plant now. But the duel doesn't go the way of Muggsy this time around. A Spark 6 from behind, able to take them out. Now Ecobat looking to duel on the stairs, gets one pick. Stardust now coming in as fast as they can. They just have one more left. That's going to be CEC with another round.
It looked like it was going to work for Team Ambition. That push up through halls by Jett felt like an adaptation to me. Like they were going for more map control than they have previously, because you could see they had someone on like the bottom of the map, the top of the map, a little bit on the upper left side of the map. And so it looked like a bit of adaptation, but the shots came through on the side of Comets. If you give the Comets the opportunity to take those duels, because they got the map control, but then that means they're forced to do the aim duels, which is where the Comets can shine. So it's kind of like darned if you do, darned if you don't. If you take the map control, you're on your own. If you don't take the map control, we'll collapse on you. And I think that's a good look from Comets to show that they can punish no matter how Team Ambition choose to play this. Even if it's like this, another slow default, Neon gets that space and that intel to know, well, they're not here, so they must be in mid.
And that is absolutely right. They're going to be rewarded with 2 kills, taking out a pair of very, very impactful players from that team. Muggsy will eventually find them, but the damage is already done.
The advantage has been given to the Comets, and they have the map control again. Look at Viper down in A cave, almost in their own spawn. They do seem to be slightly aware of this, so it's going to come to the aim duel. Oh, and it goes to the Comets again. Who would have guessed? Us. We would have guessed. The Comets are looking on point. Pike does trade it out, but now they're in a 2v3.
Yeah, they are. They do still have the tour de force, though, so there is opportunity to pull this back for them. They've made their way over to the spike. They're trying to see if they can get it picked back up. They are able to do it successfully. Now, question is, are they going to go to A or B?
You're kind of moseying on around through mid, playing for contact, looking to get a little bit of map control back because they've had none through this whole thing, and the fight gets dogged. Oh, whenever the dog connects that closely, and the shot's through. Vanny. Whenever the dog is actually able to deal damage, that means it got right in your face without anybody shooting it. Like, it needs to be at almost point blank to do damage. So they just had no control over that round whatsoever once Comets were able to get that opening pick, thanks to Stardust. Stardust was at the bottom of the leaderboard a second ago, and now that they're getting the space on the map and doing what Neon's good at, running around the map, they're converting these rounds. So we're seeing, once they play into their agent composition and the meta that they've chosen to go with, I guess you could say, they're seeing the changes. Then they're being paid dividends for it, and we're gonna see the Sova dart again.
Yes,
oh my god, this is my favorite one all the way across the map.
I love it.
And back again.
Yeah. That's just beautiful. I'm a lineup Larry myself, but for mollies and smokes, so I appreciate it. But look at Mars, the patience right there to get that pick onto Axrid. They try for another one, but Pike is going to be there instead. Bartoski now going through spawn, looking for Stardust, but they're making their way up a little bit different direction. Spike is already planted, so CEC's got to make a move here soon.
They do have quite a bit of time left on the clock, so they're not in a rush yet, and with that opening pick, it's already feeling good for them. A trade does come through from Muggsy and EcoBait. Well, so now they have just to finish the pinch from both sides, but Chamber doesn't make the shot connect, and their location is given away.
Yeah, they know where they are now, and the shots don't come in once again. Muggsy's going to be good for those. It will be another round for Team Ambition.
That round could have easily gone either way, though. I'm trying to think what Ambition did differently there. They just kept someone back, but not too far away. They kind of had a little bit more flexibility with their positioning. Think of it as like elasticity. They spread out a little bit too much, but they never let any of their limbs out so far that they would get cut off. If you want to think of it, I don't know.
I like
just
it.
an analogy. Take of it what you will. But going off of that, they're going to be going for a bit of an A hit, which they've seen some success on, but it being so heavy pressure, I know they like the heavy executes, but their adaptation that worked for them was not doing 100% heavy execute. So we'll see if this one ends up panning out.
Ooh, that's going to be a nice kill onto Spark6, but now the tables have turned quite a bit, and CEC seems to have taken control of this once again. They've even taken out the KO. They're going to be done for in just a couple of seconds. Stardust seeing if they can clear out one more angle. Eventually takes out Muggsy. Now Bartoski with an almost impossible task in front of him. Look at that, Vanny just misses with the guiding light. And now they're going to be able to take a pick onto them. They get the pick, but not the round.
The heavy execute is what they prepared for, and it's what they tried to do in that round, and it, like I was saying, just felt like a regression. Honestly, they were all pushing out into A site, and if they lose one duel, they kind of start to fall apart because KO gets shot down, and so like, oh, well, no problem, we'll just res them. Well, they know you're going to try and res them, so they keep spamming that spot and they get another kill, and it just feels like they're not able to follow up when a single person falls. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just that they have these executes, but they don't have the protocols for if they start to crumble and the adaptation mid-round. Especially when they're all in one place, which they are once again. It's a good idea with the pistols, but it's such a gamble.
Yeah, it certainly is. They're going to be pushing up very, very aggressively, making a lot of space, forcing members of CEC back because they see that it's a mob of people coming at them. They can't hold it off as just one. Stardust now opts to take a different angle completely, but in the meantime, Spark6 coming up huge with a 3K. Bonnie throwing out the guiding glide as well. Axrid in a very tough spot, taking shots from the front in 3 different directions, and that'll be another round to bring us to a tie game.
They lined up like a firing range and just gave them a couple extra frags on the board to make the Comets look good. I know it's a good idea to try new strats on the eco, but I feel like maybe they could have used that round to get a better idea of where Comets are holding and done a little bit more poking and prodding and seeing if they'd gotten aggressive or seeing, will they push here if we don't show anything? That kind of information would be more valuable than lining up together. And the pistols are going to be most effective in the hall, but you're just in hall. You don't get anything out of that other than a gamble and seeing if your shots land. And we're already seeing that early round control coming from Neon, peeking into elbow, a little duel with the drone, and eventually forced back, punished for that aggression. Well, not even punished, just not to go free.
Yeah, just forced back. And only briefly as well. It's going to be Pike 6 back opening things up, though, for Team Ambition. And with that Viper out of the way, they're going to have a lot easier time getting onto site. KO already there on A. They've got complete control of it. They should be able to get this plant out with impunity as well. They know Stardust as well is back in that corner. Pretty trapped at the moment. They're going to have to try and run out. They do, and they pay for it with their life as Pike gets the pick. Now it's a 3v4 and a very tough situation for CEC.
That's 3.
And CEC continues to go for this map control. But Pike's six-pack shuts it down. They said, we're going to do this all ourselves. We'll get all 5 kills if we have to. We're getting this round, guys. What are we doing? It's all falling apart. Stismo finally gets a single pick with the op, but the retake happening with the op, I wouldn't gamble any amount of currency, any Valorant points, any channel points. And just like that, it is shut down. Is this an adaptation from Team Ambition? I'm not sure. Maybe it is because they let Comets push to them. It could just be that.
It could be that simple. And it's shown up great for them, right? We're heading into the half. They're at least going to have a tie here, potentially the lead. They have secured themselves a tie going into defense where they should expect to be even stronger.
Well, given their performance on the previous map, I'm not sure that their defense is necessarily going to be stronger.
That's fair.
We can always hope that it will be, but Comets did have a pretty solid run on both sides of the half. Stardust now with the glowing Vandal to reflect the heroics that they've been doing for the side of Comets, going to look for some more mid action and to not give too much away to the drone this time. Just wanting to keep that control. They're going for this map control again. The Sky Flash down halls and the Viper Pit on A. They have a nice solid hold and they know, okay, they're in mid, they're in B main, and we can afford to focus more players around that angle, but he almost walks into the op.
Yeah, almost did. They're going to take a peek at it. Stardust backs off. Says, yeah, but I'm out of here is right. Got to get away from that as Pike Sixpack does find Stismo with the Tour de Force. So, Act looking to see if they can take a lead into the second half of this map. Seekers are going to be thrown out as well, but they're going to be aware very, very soon that nobody is anywhere even close to A.
Yeah, they did the Seekers on the wrong side of the map, but perhaps paranoia of the rotation coming through. They just haven't. I think they could have afforded to invest players heavier onto this side. And with that ult coming through, it's a little bit too late, so they're not able to punish that plant, and they're going to have to go for a full 4v5 retake, which if they can do would be pretty impressive. But they're going to need to land those heroic shots that we've talked about in the past.
Wow. Yeah, and Pike Sixpack right now is really feeling themselves. They are showing up in a huge way. Mars takes them down eventually, but again, the damage has been done. Bonnie going to be able to equalize now with the kill feed. In fact, give CEC a little bit of an advantage. Muggsy now with Flash, seeing if they can get anything done, see if they can keep members of the other team at bay. They fake the defuse. It's going to be a couple members going around. Do they have time? They do not, especially with that Hunter's Fury. That's going to be the round and the half for ACT.
That's I'd say Eaglebat's redemption story. On Icebox, we saw them trying to clutch with the Sova ult, and it just didn't quite pan out. So finally getting able to do that, it's gonna feel pretty good. They're gonna be like, okay, yeah, no, wait. I'm a decent Sova. I got a couple of these strats. I'm not doomed. It's not end all be all if I'm left in the final bits of it, and so they're able to provide impact to their team, just being a support player. Coming into the second half, Comets aren't going to be able to, what would you say, be as adaptive, because that's really what you can do on defense. So they're going to need to show that they can do a coordinated team defense, like we were talking about on the break, like Quicksand was saying. The team ambition is better when it comes to the team play. Their team ambition, not Comets Club. And so seeing if the Comets are able to get more than just picks. Oh my gosh, Team Ambition are playing as a team on this rotate.
Yeah, look at this interesting push onto site going all the way through mid. Axrid with a couple of big picks though. Spike still gets planted, so CEC, despite having a little bit of a numbers deficit, they do have a little advantage in terms of the fact that now It's on Team Ambition to start to push in. Spark 6 going to be able to equalize the kill feed, but Axford gives control of that back over to Team Ambition. We're going to see Vani use the guiding light. They flash a couple of members, but they duck behind cover quick enough. Vani able to get one. Now can they get another? There's very little time left for the defuse to come in. Ecobat has to make a move right now. The Molly, they're going to just walk through it, and Spark 6 says, I'm happy about that. We'll take it, and CEC will start to come back in this.
Yeah, there might have been a bit of team play we saw coming through on the side of the Comets. The way that they pushed all 5 members through mid and just barreled onto site. Yeah, it's just a heavy push together, but they're being able to trade off of each other. So they're not just playing for picks, they're playing for trades, and they're playing to get that space. They did a good job in that post plant as well, playing behind the boxes and not overextending. A lot of teams will try and ego the other team, and I'm surprised to see they didn't actually go for the ego play. So that's nice to see, and they're rewarded with that, being able to buy into this next round with several Spectres across the board, and looks like to be some aggression onto A site, only to be met by Axrid, but Axrid has been on points with their shots, so see if they can be on point once again.
Yeah, they're gonna be tested in just a moment. They've got the dash coming out. The dog doesn't see them, and oh my gosh, Stismo walks right into the sight lines. Beautiful shot coming out. Stardust gonna be able to equalize though. Spark 6 going for the plant. They've taken a little bit of damage. They have to back off for just a second because too much is coming in. They try to go for the plant again, but not gonna be able to happen. Vani with a pair of picks with the Bulldog as well.
Putting them down to a 2v2. Oh, and they're so low. So it's very doable for the side of the Comets. And Bartarski just takes this interesting peek, given they're so low on the HP, just looking to get a hero play. It's all up to the flank from Sova. Sova in the post plant on the other side this time. But still going to need to get back on the site. They do have a recon dart to play with.
Oh, and now they've got a little bit more firepower. They go for the shot, but it's not gonna land. Mars gets the better of them, and the game has been tied once again.
Comets bringing it back, looking better on attack. Perhaps it is, I'm philosophizing about these teams, but perhaps it is that they're better on attack because they don't need to necessarily bounce off of each other as much. If you can just get the pick, basically if you could just get a single pick, you're immediately at an advantage, and because they're able to do that, they're able to put themselves in a lot of advantageous situations.
We're gonna see Stardust sprinting now through tunnel right into the barrel of Muggsy. That's gonna be an easy pick to start things out for Team Ambition. Push coming through mid. Just a couple more players coming out that way. Axford seeing if they can find someone in spawn, but not to be found. And Mars finds Bartowski during the reload. Throws out the dart as well, see if they can pick up a little bit more information. Doesn't see anybody, so the Aldrone comes out instead, but is taken care of relatively quickly. Axford has to back off because now Silva knows exactly where they are.
It is a 4v4, but there's good Halls control from Chamber on the side of CEC.
Ooh. However,
it's a Chamber diff. Pike 6-pack catches them out off on their own through the door. And they're actually going to rotate to that. They got picked off there, but at least they know where they're holding from potentially. And they have the Viper Wall to get them out onto site, which has been very valuable. And in the meantime, Axrid gets pick off the back. Axrid keeping
30 seconds
them
left.
in the game.
Spark 6 gonna throw out a molly just to make sure that nobody is in that back corner so the spike can go off well, but they have no idea that Ecobat is behind them, and now Vani has to defend against 4 players, 4 different angles. Nothing they can do about it. And Team Ambition says, yeah, you can tie us, but we're gonna keep the lead.
And they're looking a lot better on this map. Like we've been talking about this whole time. They're spreading out, they're playing off of each other, and they're getting map control. They're pushing through mid, and when they pushed out of B main, they were rewarded with it, with Axford getting a free pick, just for poking and prodding and not being on their back foot. That was a big thing on Icebox. It felt like they were on their back foot so much of the time. And now that they're not on that, they can afford to take a little bit more gambles, apply a little bit more pressure around the map. And I want to see them continue to do that if they're looking to take this map and keep themselves in this series, this best of 3.
Right, exactly. They have to come away with a map win here. Otherwise, it is game over for them for tonight. Axrid gets a very early pick to open things up once again. Stardust, I think, has been playing a little too aggressively these last couple of rounds and has just been called out for it. Vani, though, will equalize in the kill feed. We're getting a push over towards B side right now, but they're waiting until some of that utility drops down before they make that push. Muggsy, in the meantime, not going to wait for anything. Finds Vani, Pike 6-pack with another, and now CEC having a very hard time getting things going here, but Stismo's good for 2.
But there is KO on the flank who's going to catch this spike planter before she can even get off the spike.
Remaining.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Muggsy. It's all Muggsy.
It's
on the
Muggsy.
flank. Yeah,
Yeah.
Muggsy, if no one else, cleans up that round. And that round, it was really weird. They just walked up mid. They didn't take any duels. They were just caught off. They were caught behind themselves. And when there was just map control on the side of Team Ambition. Because Team Ambition got that map control from Nest, they just took it and they took the kills that came with it. And now, Comets are finally on an eco. I'm not sure how many ecos we've seen them on. It hasn't been a lot.
Yeah.
So Team Ambition might be able to get perhaps a 3rd round and make this look a lot like the scoreline from the previous half, except flipped for once.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As much as CEC was in control last game, it's been Team Ambition this game, albeit not quite with as much of a lead, at least not yet, but still, the fact remains. Pike 6-pack looking to take this angle once again, prevent that initial push onto side, or at least delay it as long as possible. Vani taking a step back now. Starting to think about the rotation as well. Spike still laying in spawn.
And Ambition has definitely recognized this change. Look at where Jet's lurking in mid. She has so much deep mid control that they know they haven't even touched mid. They're just in the 2 mains. And Axrid shuts them down for that, identifying that there's maybe 1 or 2 people lurking there, because there's definitely some action happening on A, as 3 members from the side of Team Ambition collapse there to respond to this push.
They haven't pushed out just yet. They're going to wait for the guiding light that's going to cause Eco Bat to have to duck down once again. We see the wall come out from Neon. They slide in, able to take Pike's 6-pack out, but Bartoski trades. So that means CEC still down 1 player right now, but they do have the spike planted. Stismo caught, though, behind Pyramid. Bartoski gonna find them out. Axrid gets another, and now it's just gonna be Vani remaining. And once again, there's not a whole lot they can do. And now we are at 10-7 for Team Ambition.
Yeah, it was an eco from the side of Comets, but Team Ambition were still taking all the map space and doing what worked last time with the Jet lurking mid. But not just that, the push all the way up B main to confirm, yes, they're going to A site, and there's no doubts about that, and we can confidently collapse on that from every side. So even if they had rifles, that's a lot of angles to be watching. That's a lot of diligence that they would need from the side of Comets, and Comets, that's not their strong suit. Diligence isn't what they're best at. They're best at getting the picks, and they're best at trading off of each other. But when you're being applied that much pressure, that's hard to do. So they're looking to get a little bit more mid control this round and not let so much map space just immediately go to the other side.
Can be a nice smoke to keep that map control in the hands of CEC. They're going to be able to move up mid completely without any problems at all. That means they're going to be able to execute onto this B side well, but Pike 6-pack has other ideas. They TP out after getting another beautiful headshot with the tour de force. And you know, we were talking about them. They weren't feeling it last map, but Pike is here this map.
Yeah, I would definitely feel confident giving Pike the operator, or the tour de force, whatever long-range weapon that you please, because they're finally making it connect on Breeze. Maybe Breeze is better for them, even if Icebox is better for the team as a whole. And just because of that, they're able to provide a lot more for their team. Oh, Viper's peeking right into Stitsmo's tour de force. They had good control. I want to say that. Comets had good mid control, but because of that single op shot, that single tour de force, I'm not sure which one it was, from the side of Team Ambition, they just weren't able to do anything with it. And they're like, yeah, you can have mid, but we're not going to let you go anywhere with it. We're watching doors. We're watching Nest. We're watching B tunnel.
Yeah.
So they had to give up all of that space, and Jet almost catches the spike out just on their own, and 100% gets the read on what's happening.
Oh, but Vonnie has an idea there up there and instead is able to take them out. We see the Viper's Pit coming out as well. That's going to give a lot of cover. We're going to hear a counter one coming out as well for the plant, which is going to come in just moments before the round would have ended. Spark 6 backing off now considerably. Muggsy able to get a kill. Team Ambition still in the lead in the kill feed. They find one more. That's going to be the Viper's Pit down. Vonnie, though, able to get one, but it's Pike again to get the final pick in the round.
I thought for a second they had a chance to bring that round back with the dueling Viper's Pit. I'm like, okay, they should be able to at least get a couple picks here because they have good cross replacement. They have good firepower. Pike's used every bullet in their gun. I think just spamming the Viper's Pit. That's kind of funny to see. But so they had a good idea to try and get that round, but it just came down to too much random chance because there's so many walls and Viper's Pit's up. They weren't able to play off of each other in the same way that I'm sure on retake, Team Ambition, we're like, okay, I'm clearing this angle. Okay, they're not here. They're going to be in this angle. I'm pushing it. Can you trade with me? And like, they're able to play it with each other even in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah.
So Comets are forced to take a timeout and really going to have to reevaluate because what was working so well for them previously, they're not able to replicate the same success on such a big map that requires so much coordination.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that they're having this much trouble with it because if anything, I thought they were going to be looking stronger here because I thought the aim duels were going to be a little bit more prevalent. I thought that they were going to be able to take those a little easier, but that has ended up to not be the case at all. And what you said, I think, is exactly what we're seeing happen here. So a really, really interesting turn of events, I think. And I hope that this timeout is going to be good for the Comets. I hope they can, you know, find a way to come back in this. But you know what? If they don't, that just means we go to map 3.
Yeah, and we get to see, well, maybe an overtime. And so Comets coming into this round, they have a good buy, but they don't have a good economy. You can see their economy is going to be in shambles if they lose this round. While on the other side, Team Ambition have everything to give to this round. They could lose all their guns and still buy fully into the next one. So Comets are going to go for a fast execute and really play off of each other because that's what they're good at. And I'm glad they're able to identify that and not spread too thin because that's where they start to show their weaknesses.
Yeah, it certainly is. And oh my gosh, Pike coming in one more time with the op. This time finding Vonnie. Spike will get planted. EcoBat has a nice shot, a nice lineup, gets the pick onto Spark 6 as well. Stardust trades back, but still, Team Ambition with a little bit of a lead. It's going to be Stismo keeping that lead, extending it even more. Mars goes down. Muggsy gets a pick. And that's going to be the round again for Team Ambition. We're looking at the exact same score line as the last map, Easel. Just flipped.
I don't know what to tell you because Comets did exactly what I thought that they needed to do. They adapted, they played to their strengths, but they didn't have the post plant. They didn't have the you know, we were seeing the Vipers molly. We were seeing the way that they were forcing Team Ambition to come to them on the previous map, and we didn't see any of that. They were just sitting on site waiting to be shot, waiting to be shock darted. And now they're not even able to do a full buy. We're gonna see the Neon Overdrive come in 100% for sure.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're able to provide some impact with the spike, I guess, in their own spawn. But I'm positive, yep, here it comes.
There it is. We're going to see them push out very aggressively with that, but it's going to be Pike once again coming in big, thinning out the herd, taking Sova out of the equation. They have to back off once more, though, as Vonnie gets a pick onto Muggsy to equalize in the kill feed, so it's not over yet for Comets.
They have mid, but they've lost their spawn. Look at where EcoBat is holding. They haven't tripped the trip in the back of the spawn, so they don't quite know that yet. But they're about to run into some quick action in just a second.
EcoBat's lurking at just the right point, but Stardust is quicker with the flick. Beautifully done right there. They're going to sprint onto site, try and clear the way as best they can. Provide a little bit of cover, a little bit of util, a little bit of danger to force Pike 6-pack back once again.
Yeah, Comet's looking good in this round in the way that... Wow! Whoa, where'd that flick come from? Pike's still on point.
Nasty.
Comet's looking good in the way in this round that we were looking to see from them every round. They took their aim duels and then they took sight extremely easily. They barely had to fight for it. And now they just need to not get picked off by Pike six-pack.
That's proving to be harder and harder as time goes on, right? Like, and with that last flick that we just saw, like, I wish you could have seen all of us in the casting booth, right? Like, every single one of us in chat, just our faces were just like making the exact same expression. But now it's just down to this one final player. Bartoski looking to see if they can clutch it out. They go for the defuse. The spike is planted. I don't think they're gonna finish it off this round, though.
Absolutely not, because now that Comets were able, I think they replicated a similar what they did for success on the previous map. They got out, they got on the site, and they got good site control for once. They weren't just trapped behind pyramids. And because they had good site control, they could afford to send Viper back. So even if Neon wasn't able to take the final duel on site, she was still able to allow Viper to get into a post-plant position and maybe send a molly just in case. Didn't end up being needed, but maybe they'll use that molly in this next round.
Yeah, we'll see. That could absolutely be the case. It's going to be Sovas with the only ultimates online for, once again, this potentially final round. CEC hoping to hold on, hoping to see if they can clutch this out. But Axrid going to make that very tough with a pick on Devani once again. Sismo goes for a shot, but has to back off to safety. We're going to see a quick push again onto A side as Dismo gets another. Spark 6 going to be able to plant on pyramids. And are we going to be seeing some of these lineups come out from them this time? Stardust gets another pick. The Viper's pit is out as well. So they want this round, and they are doing everything they can to win it here, Easel.
They had really good control on the backside, and that Viper flank was coming through, but it wasn't coming through fast enough, so they just ended up getting caught out with the trip and the timing.
Wow.
And now that Pike six-pack gets taken down, Stitsmo has finally shown back up. We were wondering who was going to be Stitsmo's counter. It is Pike six-pack.
It is Pike.
And now Stitsmo's showing, okay, not so fast. You can't quite run away with it just like that. And those are some much needed frags. They only have 12 for the game. They're not even at a positive KD, but that is the round that can head them in the right direction. They're not crippling Team Ambition's economy, but they are hurting it. And if they can replicate that one more time, not only will they keep themselves in the game, but they'll have an extremely favorable fighting shot at getting themselves up to 11-12, maybe even overtime.
Yeah, we will have to wait and see. They are definitely hanging on for dear life right here. They are not making this easy for Team Ambition at all. Funny, gotta be forced out of mid by the Sova dart. Spike over near B at the moment. Just one player on the defense on B side. Stardust gets an early pick. It's going to open things up, and this is exactly what you were talking about. This is how success starts for Comet, right? Is with one of these opening picks, allowing them to push on the site. But we see they're taking their time, and it's paying off as Dismo finds another pick. It's a two-player advantage. They let loose with the Seekers as well, and they have complete confidence that there's not going to be hardly anybody over on B site. But look at this. Bartoski is still there. They're going to throw out the molly to see if they can keep the plant from going in. They get another kill. That was tremendous. Spark is going to get the plant off. Hunter's Fury comes out. They try to take out the spike planter, but it's not going to happen.
They did get huge chip damage, though. So going into this post plant, even though it's a 2v2, the health is almost in a favorable situation, and they do finally capitalize on that pick, putting them in the 2v2. I do think that Viper has lineup, so they're going to have to be fast here, or the clock's just going to be whittled down simply by utility as they attempt to clear out Neon from the back of sight.
Yeah, this is absolutely a case where Viper has the lineups ready to go. And then they can see that there's just one player remaining. Stardust doing everything they can to win this duel on site. They lose it, so this molly's gonna be let loose. Here it comes. The smoke is there. The spike's getting defused, but the attackers take it.
Yeah, the molly was actually already out. We were only watching the second molly, and that felt like... So when Comets do good, they do the same thing every time. They just need to get into their strat book, get into a place where they can put it into play, and then it works. Even though it's two people left in both times, It's the same strat. It's the same fight someone on site, leave someone for the molly, and we got it. And now that they're able to shut down Pike 6-pack, take that op away from them, leave them just on a rifle. I say just a rifle. Leave them just on a rifle to have a chance at not getting picked off right away and keeping the numbers advantage to allow them to put Viper and Neon in those positions. But they're walking right up on the Judge. The peek is a little bit too soon, a little bit too ambitious from Bartoski. So he's forced to pull back. Oh, that made my heart jump a little.
Yeah, I know. They were bucking it out of there, and they made their way out. Now they're covering this other entrance with that shotgun. So Spark 6 wants to push through. They want to, but they're being held back just by that util. Bartoski still holding that angle. Who's gonna push first? Who's gonna peek first?
And that's Spike. If Spark 6 gets picked here by the Judge, that could be the round and the map for Comets. Oh, but a breath of fresh air they pull away from the Judge. Now they just have to deal with Sova, who's lurking in cave. They get the opening pick with Mars, but Sova's still waiting, and Sova's looking to do something dirty.
Oh my gosh, look at this though.
Oh, did they know?
That's getting snuck up on by Stardust. They have no idea either one is there right now. They're both just hanging out. But look at this. There's a peek coming in from Bonnie. They try for that as well, but they're getting shot from behind. They had no idea Ecobat was there. Now we see the push come out on the site. We're going to see the plant coming in soon as well. The flash takes out. Stismo takes out that Blade Storm as well. A lot was thrown into this, and they don't have anything to show for it at the moment.
Comets looking on form. It's not too little too late because they're able to keep themselves in the map. It would be, but they're connecting. And now Stitsmo with the tour de force, there's not a shot that you're getting back onto the site, especially not with a Judge. Maybe Bartoski can get a single pick, but the economy's already looking good, and they just don't have the weapon out. Mars closes it up. I love what we're seeing from Comets, and they're good. At this point, they're going to bring us straight into an overtime, and who knows what's going to happen then, because the tables are going to be flipped, and both of these teams are showing incredible showings from both sides of the half. We've seen these streaks. If you look at the round side, it's not that it's one and then the other. It's that this team figures it out, and then the other team has the counter, and then the other team gets on their form. They both have their forms, just at different moments. So if Comets can keep up their form, we're going to overtime, baby.
Yeah, we certainly are, but this is going to be a fully equipped round for each team. I love to see it. The tour de force coming out as well from Pike, who has been a little bit streaky so far, but it's going to be a quick trade to make it a 3v3. We've got a Viper's Pit as well in mid, cutting down a lot of area, cutting off a lot of ways to move around. Bartoski with one on the Stismo. This could be the moment that ACT comes back and takes this. They can continue to hold on. Bartoski getting very, very aggressive with this Viper's Pit.
What a weird Viper's Pit, and somehow it pays off because they didn't have anyone watching Chambers back in mid. They left him alone and weren't able to trade that out. So they're left in a really bad, honestly, man disadvantage. It is, I want to identify, this is Viper and Neon. This is the man disadvantage that they want, and we can see the Viper smoke going down. It's not quite safe to get off site, but they have the dream team, the combo that works.
Ooh.
Until Pike shuts it down.
But now it's just down to one. They're taking off from site as quick as they can. They go for the reload, but it's not there. That is going to be Team Ambition taking us to a map number 3 in style this time.
Defenders win.
I had so many doubts all through that map. It looked like Team Ambition figured it out, and it looked like Comets were finally back on form, but they weren't able to bring that through to the final round. That was a really good strat brought out from Team Ambition with that push into mid at the time that they needed it the most.
Yeah, it really, really was. What a turn of events. What game number 2. We get to see a map number 3, and we're going to Ascent. So, I feel like I had a good read on these first 2 maps, but with Ascent, I just don't know how to feel about this one now, given what we've just seen.
Look, I've been sitting here watching the whole thing from the backseat. I gotta say, watching Comets just climb their way up and almost bring it into overtime. I was like, oh my god! And the moment the numbers are getting knocked down further and further and further, I know that because Comets is a stronger individual team, like we mentioned earlier. I remember you saying, Easel, that they're called Team Ambition for a reason.
Yes.
And because of that, I thought that when the numbers get smaller, Comet will have better control of the game. But we did see in that last one that there were picks just everywhere from Team Ambition that were finding what they were looking for. And they really did get shut out of that so close reach to overtime. What did you guys think of the game overall? Like, where did it start and where did it end up, Joggle?
Well, I think Easel put it best actually, right? So I'm gonna echo him again because it was like it was counterplay, right? That's what we were seeing happen, right? It was one team figured out what the other was doing, and they were like, all right, we got to counter it. Cool, we countered it. Then the other team's like, crap, now we got to figure this out again, right? And then they counter. It was just back and forth like that. It wasn't round by round at all. It was in chunks the whole time, which was really cool to see.
I think it showed, I'll just go ahead and pick it up here. I think it showed that both teams were having moments of brilliance, having moments where they looked like they were clicking, but it is the team play from Team Ambition that ultimately ended up pulling them through to the end, and being able to pull a strat so deep from the book, like that final round, that push out into mid with the Vipers pit. Who does that? But they have that team play, and they're able to swing out of that as it's like a crazy smoke. And so they're just able to swing out in the most unconventional spot to be peaked from, that it definitely didn't look like Comets had prepared for.
And at the same time, we're going to run some clips in the back just as I get over the time. You're going to see while you watch the clips, okay? As someone who, I play Valorant, with my mates, but I'm definitely not a hardcore Valorant player. I got to say, seeing, I almost said Zeri, no, Neon. Zeri from League of Legends, they're the same characters they made at the same time. Seeing Neon move around with the Stardust on Neon is just unbelievable. She's so quick, man. Running around all over the map. She gets her slides. She finds a way to get herself into position every single time. And it felt like a big battle of, again, that is one major aspect of Valorant, getting into a better position than your opponent. And then we saw some unbelievable flicks. Like near the end there, I wanted to unmute. I'm like, oh! I audibly gasped just sitting in my chair by myself with some of those flicks.
Yeah, I happen to look over right at the screen where I can see everybody's face, and like literally all three of us made the exact thing. Like, just like incredible flick coming out from Pyke. It was when he was in CT, right?
Yeah, up on the bridge. Up on the bridge, and I was in the middle of talking about my commentary on what's working all around. I'm just like, how did he hit that? I was like, he has more frames than we do. We couldn't even see where he lined up the shot.
Yeah. That was shot of the match, right? Like, I'll go ahead and call it, right? Like, so far, that's the shot of the day. Like, easy. Pyke has that one.
Like it processed in my head that he was there, and then he's dead, and I'm like, oh, okay, there goes the game.
You know what? Okay, so here's something that I want to mention, right? Like something that I've noticed is that right now, right? I want to go back to Pyke, because Pyke to me has shown some brilliance, but he's also been quiet at certain times, right? Pyke is playing a little bit streaky today, right? And so what I'm wondering, right, is if Pyke is firing on all cylinders, I feel like Team Ambition is doing well, right? But if Pyke is struggling, that's where things start to go wrong for them. That's a little bit of what we saw in Icebox too. So I'm going to be really curious. I'm going to be watching Pyke early on in a set to see how things start to play out there for him.
And that's like when we see Pyke not missing or Pyke not hitting, when we see the op passed on to the Jet, and because they didn't have that one, he wasn't hitting, and two, they didn't have the confidence. They just like didn't look like they were doing what any plans. They weren't able to do that. But here, Pyke is hitting, like you said, and they're able to actually do these team plays. That they're the team. They're Team Ambition. They're not Comet Esports Club. They're not a couple people getting together who like to queue ranked. Yeah. And so that team play is what is going to win them on Ascent going into that. Especially, I want to see some wall bangs, some recons. Yeah,
oh my god, there's
paper thin walls.
Some Odins.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's interesting you bring up Pyke, because I feel like Pyke and Stismo, the two chamber players, were both like they're just on point again. Bang, bang. They're like sniping everyone from all across the map. They're finding the best positions, the best angles. And a lot of the time when the map opened up or teams were struggling, then either chamber would just find an opportunity to further that advantage.
Yeah, but ultimately it was the fact that they had so many people towards the top of the leaderboard, so many people getting frags that brought them to the end. They weren't relying on their Neon. on the side of Team Ambition, they weren't relying on just that one player, which is what always wins these maps. It's tried and true. If you have everyone contributing, then you're going to be getting all of the picks that matter, and that they kind of play into each other. So with that,
yeah. I was going to say, well, the last thing I was thinking of was which player do we want to look out for in our final game? We did mention Pyke, who's been on top of everything, and then is there anyone else? Who are the standout players so far, and who do you think may shine or may flop in this last game coming up?
My eyes are on Spark 6 as well. I think Spark 6 has been doing some work behind the scenes, right? A little bit. I think that, Easel, you mentioned that they weren't seen at the top of the kill feed, right? At least in Icebox. But I think their presence and their effect is really being felt throughout the team. So I'm gonna see, and Bartoski actually as well, right? I want to call out the controllers, right? Because when Bartoski went over to Viper, they won, right? When they went to the more meta pick, they won. So my eyes are going to be on the controllers and what's picked here moving on to Ascent, because I think that can really affect things in a very, very dramatic way.
Yeah, people definitely underestimate the controller pick a lot. It provides a lot of impact. It's not always reflected on the scoreboard. But if we are going to talk about the scoreboard, I want to see Stitzmo show up again. Stitzmo was the person that we were like, who's going to counter Stitzmo? Well, there's no Stitzmo to counter if he's not top of the scoreboard, if he's not doing what they did at the end of that map. Stitzmo needs to do that from the beginning and be a reason to be countered. So if we can see that from Stitzmo coming to this one, then they'll be able to get those frags that set his team to be in 5v4s, 5v3s even, and makes it a lot easier to take advantage of.
There you go. You've heard it here. Keep an eye out for everybody there, and as well as Pyke, who has just been on top of everything. We got Stitzmo, who I mentioned earlier. Everyone's been on top of the game, and I'm so interested to see which players fluctuate to their high points, their low points, and that's how we're going to lead to our final game. So we're just going to jump to a break for just a moment, and we'll see you guys as we load into our selection for the third game.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here with you again in the Agent Select screen. We're on our final map, Ascent. So one way or another, we are crowning a winner after this, Easel.
That's so correct, and I really thought that Comet had pieced it together and was going to come back on that last map. So the fact that Team Ambition are able to get that map win and hold themselves together and keep showing their team play, it's super exciting. And we're on Ascent, so of course we're going to go ahead and see either a Sova or a Fade coming out from both sides and going to be lighting up through those walls.
Yes, we are. And you know, nothing is really setting off any alarm bells in my head looking at either of these comps this time, right? Like, I like what I see here so far.
Yeah, it's what you would expect from Ascent with what I said, the recon character, but then there's also the Killjoy on the side of Comet Esports. That's probably a little bit more meta, I'd say, of a pick, because that way you're able to get the offensive shots with the Sova, but also agent. Killjoy can anchor down an entire site on her own. She can put her mollies on that B lane. She can put her alarm bot behind the wall. Her what is it, the lockdown for the retake.
Yep.
It just makes sense. So I'm honestly kind of surprised to see Team Ambition not going for that.
Yeah.
Maybe not going with the meta is going to hurt them once again. Or not necessarily the meta, but like the most typical thing. Like Comet look their strongest when they're playing into what works. So the fact that they're doing that here, besides Lorena, but the fact that they're doing that here is a good sign for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. You know, the one thing I think we have to bring up too about the KJ pick is the buff to the mollies for KO, right? Because now they can take out the lockdown right from the other side of a wall.
Yeah, that's almost a perfect counter pick on the side of Team Ambition to shut down that Killjoy and not let that be as advantageous. I'm sure as any respectable Killjoy main would, they've learned new lineups that they can put their lockdown or won't immediately get destroyed, because that's always been such a pain for Killjoy mains. I used to main Killjoy, but now it's been like a year and a half because she's been nerfed to death. And so if you're still a Killjoy main, you find ways to improvise, adapt, and overcome. But the most interesting thing here is that it's Muggsy on the chamber for the side of Team Ambition. And it's Pike on Killjoy. What are they doing?
I don't know. This is so confusing.
They changed it. And so, well, we'll see if it ends up panning out as Comet is pushing right up mid, and the actions, the kills are coming through as we speak.
Wow, yeah, very, very quick push onto site. Ecobat going to be hit with a paranoia as well as they try to make their way out of sight, as it is just completely trampled upon by the Comets. They're going to get the plant off very, very quickly. All of them clustered around here on site, though, so this is maybe not the best position for them to be in. You would ideally, I think, want to have a few off-site as well.
Yeah, and the team Ambition is extremely aware of that. Look at where Killjoy is. They're in every major entrance. They know there's nobody flanking it, and they can focus all their efforts on clearing out the site, which they're doing with that recon bolt to start it out. And, oh, they're shut down with the knife.
That they are, but Axrid has equalized things in the kill feed. We're now down to a 3v3, but there's not a whole lot of health left for anybody on Team Ambition's side. Make that anyone still standing. Boathouse gonna be taken down as Just Chamber, and they're not gonna be long for this world. And look at that, Team Ambition with just a sliver of health between the two of them.
It's too little, too late.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
It felt like it was falling apart at the same time, but they did just enough and they played just enough back on site. It's unfortunate that Silva can't reposition to a safer spot, but they were able to at least make them turn, and just that turn was enough. But right when they killed Silva is when that circle started going down and lost them the round. So a great retake on the side of Team Ambition. I don't think losing that pistol is a sign of the times, is a sign that they are not going to be able to show up at this map, but that retake was really strong from the Comets. So if they keep doing that, well, they might just take the map.
They might. We are one round in, but already a lot to think about, a lot to come into this next round with. We're going to see a nice dash onto site now, taking a lot of space. Pike going to be taken out by Stismo this time, right after they remove Stardust. So just to trade on site, Spike will be planted. And this is just such a quick execute that we're seeing out of CEC each time right now.
And then we're seeing a quick adaptation here. Omen not letting them all be pinched onto site immediately. That's a huge change for them to give them a chance to fight other than just on site and give them a little bit more control. And Spark6 ends up getting that pick and gives them just a little bit more to work with as Axis tries to land the shots and lands 1, 2. Oh, it's down to a 3v2. So quick, so close.
Wow. Oh my gosh, it's now just a 1v1. Axrid versus Vani, who's going to be able to take it right here. They fake the defuse. They go for the shots. It's not going to land. I don't think Axrid's got enough time to defuse again. This round, once again, going over to CEC despite Team Ambition winning the fights.
Yeah, that was a really... I gotta collect my words. Oh my word! It was such a close battle, and it's Axrid in the end once again getting those kills. Doesn't technically have a death because a death to the spike isn't counted on the leaderboard. Fun fact. So they're able to still keep that very crisp 5-0, which is not at all reflective of how the game's gone so far. And so CEC, they went for, look at that, the full light shield Vandal meta. They're expecting a lot of Vandals on the playing field, and at that point, the light and the heavy shield don't make that big of a difference. I love talking about it. It's such an interesting thing. And as a Phantom main, I love it because it means the Phantom is like the Vandal. But they do opt for that, which is an interesting strat to make sure that they're not at a gun disadvantage on this third round, just to try and keep their momentum.
Let's see if they can do just that. And I like it. You know, we've seen... this is twice now we've seen like unusual buys come out in these rounds, and so this is great. I love what we're seeing from both of these teams. I love the adaptations, the risks that we're seeing them take as well. This is really good stuff. Really good Valorant that we've gotten to watch tonight.
Yeah, well, just look at the middle of map. Look at market. Look at how much utility.
Oh my gosh!
It's just funny to me. As it's a bit of a slow round, there's a bit of comedy in just the placement, and they're like, okay, nobody's coming through this one spot.
Exactly, this one spot. We got it under control, guys. Team, nobody's coming through here. Rest of the map, no clue. But right here, nothing.
Yeah, and as the map is being poked and prodded, it does look like Comets are sort of reading where they're holding, and they're leaning towards B site. They don't have a pick there, but at least Killjoy doesn't have her utility down on lane, so they're able to get out.
Yeah, that they are. And oh my gosh, Tismo caught in everything all at once. There's nothing he can. I'm so glad we got to see that. Just a few seconds left before the spike or the round is over, but the spike does get planted. CEC with a little bit of an advantage. Once again, the Comets looking good right now, especially considering Pike is down to less than half HP.
The map control is what is going to win them this round if this duel comes through.
Wow,
just having her on the flank. Oh, but she loses the shot, so it's all down. Low HP, one person back sight, not able to make it happen. It was a Valorant effort to try and get them that third round, but that's an expensive bonus because they had to 100% buy into their bonus. In fact, it wasn't a bonus at all because every single person has died both times.
Yeah, you're right. Like, and now finally we have Team Ambition with a round win and getting all of the kills. So they finally been able to put them both together. They were able to get onto the site quick enough this time. So yeah, you know, I gotta be honest, even though right now the Comets are in the lead in the leaderboard, I feel like the game is being played a little bit better by Team Ambition.
They showed a very strong impact on that first round. Oh, they got scanned and tagged up a little bit, but they showed some very good ideas on those first two rounds, and they just played that second round too slow, and now they're just getting picked off in mid by Axrid. It's a firing range. Oh, they do not have the weaponry to deal with this.
No, they really do not, and we're gonna see Stardust drop back to get the spike and look to rotate over towards A, but rest of their members, team members are over there, but we're getting a little bit of movement by Reyna up through mid as well, so this could yield something interesting too. They're going to hear the spike being dropped, so Acrid knows they're close. Take a couple of shots, they're going to be able to find one to get the top of the head of Stardust, looking for an ace here. But Bonnie is nowhere to be found, and Bartoski got to finish things up to bring us to 2 apiece.
I like the little jiggle peek with the Spectre, just getting a little chip damage. You're not going anywhere. Keeping them in place. There was maybe an attempt to give Axford the ace, but they were just too far away to make it finally connect. And now we come onto the full buy from the side of Comets. And they're going to use that full buy to go for that B hit. You look at all those pings they just put on the map. They said, okay, they're recognizing they went way too slow on their last full buy. They did not have enough time. They did not have enough map control. And they might not have the map control this time, but they'll have the time.
Yeah, they're going to push this pretty hard, pretty quick. They're going to do it on the back of this null command as well. We see the Haunt thrown out too to get a little bit of room. Spike goes down, but they're going to be able to get it back pretty quickly. They're going to be able to res the KO as well. So still 5 strong now for the Comets. Only 4 for Team Ambition as the spike gets planted once again. But look at this. Again, they're all on site.
Yeah, they've lost the map control, and Reyna's trying to get by that scanner, and the Omen Smoke does come through. So we're seeing the Omen Smoke on the side of Team Ambition actually help out their teammates for once. And now it's just going to come down to the gun duels on site, which Comets are not bad at.
No, they certainly are not, but this time Axford going to get at least the better of Stardust. Mars cracks back though. Muggsy finds one. It's going to be a 3v2 on site. It's just a couple of people remaining in Boathouse, so if they can get control of Boathouse, they could get this entire map. We see the defuse come in. Is it going to be in time? Did they get it? Yes, this time they did.
Yeah, they were able to deconstruct the hold just in the right amount of time to be able to get that defuse to come through. And it's exactly as you identified. Comets had no map control, as opposed to when we saw them take A site and see success there. They actually had map control. They had somebody waiting out in main. They weren't waiting to be picked off one by one. And because they're all holding one angle on B site, if one person falls, then that opens up a lot of different angles for everyone else to watch, and the whole cookie crumbles. So now they're left on a slightly weaker buy, albeit not bad. It's respectable. We're going to see those jet knives come out just like that and try and get this early mid control and hopefully some more map control for their sake.
Push is coming up through tree pretty quickly. They have no idea Stismo's this close though. They go for a couple shots. They land. Bartoski out of the picture for now. Gonna be another swing, but this time Axford gets the better of them. Reyna coming up on top. 4v3 now, but this time the Comets on top. Not going to be thrown out, but look at a beautiful shot coming in from Axrid once again to take Mars out. But Stardust, in the meantime, has just been going ham with these knives.
Yeah, Stardust was cleaning up their back line, so now it's all left up to Reyna and Chamber, who are both leaning towards A site. They've gotten the read on this. Omen is rotating over. The question is, who has the more patience? Is Vanny going to be able to get some value out of this corner as Reyna pushes out to mid? It's just a matter of time. And if they can peek the angle, takes her knife out at just the wrong time. And now it's all up to Chamber with the op, and the op is not the best retake weapon.
No, it's really not. This is such a tough place to be because it's like, do you swap guns? Do you go for something else? Do you hold on to the gun for economy's sake? Like, there's a lot to consider here, and not a whole lot of time to think about it either. As Muggsy starts to take position from CT, I just don't see how he's going to be able to get onto the site. They agree. They go back. They pick up the op. They're just going to save.
I was going to say, is that KO with a lineup in B main? No, I think he's just watching the flank and giving them that map control, making sure they're not going to be pushed in from the backside and picked off one by one. They're going to have a little bit more of an idea of what's happening. Muggsy is going to get to save the op, but Comets have given us the different look and the adaptations and the patience. I love the waiting around in mid. It's great. Yeah. People love to hate on people waiting in corners, but Valorant is a tactical shooter. You're meant to use these different strategies, different tactics, anything to catch your opponents off guard and give you the one up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and from the side of Team Ambition, they're doing really good, but look at the scoreboard. It's Reyna. It's Reyna at 12-2 that has given them these rounds, almost with an ace that one round. They're going to need more than Reyna. It's going to, Bartoski needs to show up. We saw them fall a little bit flat playing Omen on the first map, and they look good on the Viper, but now they're back on the Omen, so I'm worried they might just go right back to where they were.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that as well. One thing that I think is interesting is actually we're not seeing a Brimstone on either side on this map, which I think isn't, maybe necessarily a meta pick, but it isn't a bad pick either. It didn't see him at all come out today, so very, very interesting in that regard.
Face your fear.
We're going to see the ultimate come out now from Fade. Push onto site happening. We're going to see the Chasers come out too. Stardust looking for anybody in hell. Not going to find anybody. Spark 6 going to be able to get the plant off.
And now they're left in a full retake situation. Team Ambition has the numbers, and they have the time to play with, and they have the ultimate. And there's not a KO left alive because KO went for the ult orb when the Sova ult was coming out. And now they don't have the KO to cancel this nade. Oh, they're just going to go destroy the lockdown on their own and keep their map control one way or the other. Now the tables have turned. It's Team Ambition on the site. They're being picked off one by one like flies. It's all up to Bartoski, but Bartoski has not been our hero of the map.
Oh, they're able to get one, but Stardust does come in with the final shot right there, giving the lead once again to the Comets.
Yeah, were they just to respect that Killjoy ult, that round could potentially have gone the way of Team Ambition, but it's the disrespect and it's the, no, goodbye. This is not doing anything. Yeah. They just run it down, and I'm not sure that Team Ambition was ready for that level of aggression, but it's the aggression that gives Comets the round. Their shots, their aggression, that's what they're known for, and they leaned into it, they got the round.
So let's see if that's gonna yield dividends again. And I really like the Fade pick too. I think the Fade was crucial to getting on the site. The Fade plus KO pick is just so overwhelming from a site taking perspective that it's just hard to do anything at all against it. KJ, great person to have in there, but there's only so much they can do.
Yeah, they have the Killjoy, they have the Fade on the differing sides, but it doesn't matter when you're running into sight and you're just going for the gunfights because Jet can dash out and just flick some heads, and Stismo does just that, opening it up. Pyke tries to get the trade out but is unable to make it connect, so now it is just Stardust closing it out and giving them a safe plant, putting them in a 4v3 on this defensive hold, but they don't have any map control, and Bartoski punishes them for that with Reyna on the flank too. Owen's about to get caught out. They were able to push on the site, but they didn't have the control this round that they needed.
No, you're absolutely right. When it seems when the Comets get map control, they can win these rounds. When they don't, it goes the way of Team Ambition. And right now we're seeing that play out. Now it's just down to the two chambers. But crucially, Stismo just has a sliver of health left. They're going for the defuse. They took it to half. That was a big risk that Stismo took, but it's paying off. Now he goes for the second peek, but a beautiful shot from Muggsy. Gets the kill and gets the round. And what a back and forth affair this is. This one is going round by round, one way or the other. This isn't played out at all like the other map.
Yeah, both of the teams definitely have a better read on what each other are doing. They've finally figured out how to shut down this Reyna. And so that's kind of the counter from the side of the Comets. But like we said, they didn't have the map control, and it just got closed in on and brought down to a 1v1, and there wasn't quite enough patience on the side of Stismo to give them the point. Maybe just waiting a little bit longer, but it's pretty tough when you're down so low HP. And I think they want to replicate that success and go for A main, but look, they're putting Fade on the other side of the map. They're not gambling all their coins in the one shot, and Muggsy hits a good shot to open them up.
Muggsy does indeed. Stardust, though, gonna bring out the blades, bring out the knives. Axrid pushing through that smoke. Who's gonna get the quicker shot? It's gonna be Axrid. Oh my gosh, it's not hilarious for the people it's happening to, but it's kind of hilarious watching when people just like walk into each other like that, completely unawares on either side of a smoke.
Yeah, jet knives are not good at that distance, so they're definitely in a state of panic. And Omen's just sitting on smite. Omen's sitting on site, smoking. So Mars walks straight through to their defensive.
Wait, what?
Chamber?
One enemy remaining.
Chamber has an idea.
Spike down B.
Sorry, did you see Bartoski right there? And Spark?
No, what happened?
Like Bartoski just walked completely, Spark walked completely past Bartoski, and Bartoski I think just watched him walk by on site. Anyway, sorry, we got completely derailed there. That was my fault, but that was just such a weird play on site. We didn't see it on camera, but I saw it in the map feed.
Well, there were several weird things happening on site because Omen was busy smoking, so they were getting crazy amounts of space and just weird positions, and that's how those weird plays that caught you off guard caught me off guard. I was trying to explain what actually happened for one of them, and meanwhile there's another one happening. Yeah, so that brings our scoreboard to 5-4. Team Ambition have kept themselves in this map. They've not let Comets get too solid of a hold, and now Comets are going for their death barrel once again. It feels like hopefully someone stays back, and they need that map control to accomplish anything.
Yeah, they absolutely do, because it's without that they're just completely lost. It seems like it becomes shooting fish in a barrel for Team Ambition, right? When they just lose all of that map control, they can just take it from so many angles, and already getting an early lead in the kill feed. Beautiful play coming out from Arena. They're going to be forced back though, but the damage is done once again.
Yeah, this Jet in mid and Omen now in back barrel. He's looking at the mark. Oh my god, he still stays alive somehow.
Wait, what?
They totally missed each other. He has no idea. Okay, I cannot handle what is happening on play right now. Ultimately, Ecobat ends up getting the shot and keeping them in the round, but doesn't get hit by that fatal, and now they're just able to peek. Mars coming up clean, getting 2 easy shots. But Reyna's on the flank, so Chamber's going to need to be hyper aware of this, or this could derail their whole round.
Oh yeah, this is gonna. Yeah, beautiful play from Axrid. They're gonna try and push out onto site now. Takes the shot at Stardust. That's gonna land. It's just gonna be Mars now. They're gonna be good for Pike 6-pack. It's a 1v1 now between the Initiator, the Duelist, who's gonna take the shot. It's gonna be Axrid. They're gonna get the defuse and bring us to a 2-point lead, which is the biggest lead we have seen by either team so far.
Yeah, so far it's been really back and forth, and I'm so surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, but why does Killjoy take that aim duel in that final moment? Or was it Killjoy? No, why does Fade? Fade, you know that Reyna's going on these rampages. You know that it's back and forth. Oh, for 1 second, you guys stop going for the aim duels, guys. Just play your utility, play smarter. But they can't stop fighting it, and Axrid's going on a rampage, 19-5.
Yeah.
Oh, holy smokes, that is a kill. That's a KD if I've ever seen one. No one in the lobby is even close. Almost twice the kills of Mars. It's the top frag from the other side, but Mars not doing nearly enough. And it's Stitsmo, the player I wanted to watch. We haven't been watching because Stitsmo hasn't opened up the kind of space that Comets need to be able to bounce off of.
Yeah, you're right. They really haven't been able to yet. They're caught right in the middle of the of the kill board as well. Look at this lurk right here. Omen gonna send out some smoke. Stardust doesn't have an idea that they're close, but they're not pushing out just yet. When this smoke goes down, I don't think Bartoski's gonna be in that great of a position, but look, he knows that Stardust is right around the other side of that smoke. They're gonna drop back just a little bit to make sure they stay safe now.
They totally have an idea that somebody might be hiding close, so they're not going to be pushing that. But Omen pushes into the other smoke, just taking so much space and peeking at just the right time that they're not peeking two people at once, somehow still alive, but unable to make anything connect as Stardust cleans them up. And now they're going for a quick rotation towards A site to try and capitalize off of these picks that they got, but that's where Axrid's waiting, and Axrid gets another pick for the round. Axrid is on a rampage. Pike six-pack gets another kill. Oh, they're just holding down the site on their own, one at a time. It doesn't matter that they get ulted because they just kill everybody who tries to push their way. Oh.
you need to take a breath there, my guy. Holy crap.
I can't. Look at how the action's going back and forth.
It's insane. It is.
They're going in there. They're going in. Axrid and Pike go on a rampage to end out that round, and Pike isn't the top frag, but 10-6 is still an extremely respectable KD. They're going to keep them in it, and what they've changed is they're taking the aim duels. They're not letting Comets do what they want to do, and because they're taking that aggression and the shots are landing, they're able to get away with it.
Yeah, that they are. We're going to see another pretty aggressive push coming out through A, though. No command coming out. We hear the nightmare thrown as well. Bartoski going to be deafened from that, but still going to be able to land their shots because their eyes are still working, at least for a moment, as Stardust finds them on the other side. Spark 6 comes out with another pick as well, but the revive was in on the KO, so the Comets looking a little bit better at the moment. Wall bangs attempted, but nothing coming from it. Pike six-pack now. Gonna throw out the turret just to get an idea of where the other team is before they peek. That gets them one kill, but they're taken out right after that. Down to a 2v2 now. We've got the players in heaven versus the players in hell.
That Muggsy landing the shots, but unable to do it when they switch down to their headhunter to get into the close angle. And now EcoBot's location has been noted, and Vanny underneath able to clean it up. We saw Vanny on the Sage in the first couple maps, and then on the Sky, which was a little bit more aggressive, and now on the KO, they fully committed their transition from the passive support to the fragger, and they're not fragging out, but they're able to get the frags because they're playing the agents that are setting them up to do that. It didn't work out so well in this map, but I think it's working out good enough in this map to keep them in it. And now that we've switched sides at 7-5, this is a pretty close half. So I'm interested to see how it's going to develop from here. And look at these cheeky players buying shields on round number 1.
I know. What are they doing? There's going to be somebody on the other team just shouting, "Damn it! Someone bought shields. Who buys shields?" You know.
Who does
but
that?
I guess there's people on both sides. So two, as a matter of fact. So that's really interesting. They both want to. What this says to me is both these teams want to take these aim duels and they want to survive them. They're respecting the other team. Gonna be a couple of quick picks though in favor of Team Ambition. They're gonna push out on a site quick, but Vonnie has an angle coming from Pizza. They get a couple shots in, but not any damage done. Axrid takes a little chip damage, but they're able to close the door and keep them out of the way. So now Vonnie gonna have to think about a different way to push onto site.
And look at this push by Reyna into their spawn. This is giving them a little bit more control. They've lost the backside, but they've gotten the front fighting grounds. And now Reyna's able to wrap around and go into market and punish Vanny if they're not quick enough, because they have no idea.
No, a number of them have no clue. Stismo's position given away by trying to take out that util, and Pike gonna make them play for it. Now it's just gonna be Vanny, but they're taken out of the equation. And right now, Team Ambition is looking powerful.
Wow, I just loved saying their name. They looked like they had simply ambition in the first map. Now it has manifested itself into something more real. And that was a very strong, very convincing opening half, or opening half and opening round. I liked what I saw from Comets on the first pistol round, but they looked like they had their heads cut off on the second round.
Yeah.
And so now coming into this, they're stacking the correct site. They have a good guess on what might happen, but Axrid has a second round Phantom. That's gonna definitely be lethal.
Yeah, it certainly is. And with Axrid popping off as hard as they are right now, it's gonna do some work. You just know it's gonna do some work. Bonnie now dropping back a little bit, trying to get a spray through the smoke, doesn't find anything, but they get hurt a little bit, down to just a quarter of their health. Bartoski pushes through with Pike six-pack. They take over site very quickly, very efficiently. 3 players down in the blink of an eye, and KO with just a sliver of health on the other side of that door. Bartoski finds them, and with that, the round is over.
Man, with that flawless round, I'm like, wait, maybe I should get that Champions Phantom. That's looking kind of clean out there on the field. But
Right.
maybe it's just Axrid hitting their shots. Now at 24-6, still at that, what, 4-1 KD. Oh my goodness. Who's gonna be the one to be able to shut them down? Our question was, who can counter Stizmo? No, wrong question. The question is, who can counter Axrid? And this
Pike,
Reyna.
look at this. Pike is actually above the top fragger for the other team, too.
Because they have both of those fraggers, they don't need to do their team strats that they've been relying on. They can pull a different look, which it feels like the Comets just aren't ready for.
Yeah, this has been absolutely tremendous coming out from them. 9-5 now the score, Lightning. Oh, that's a feel bad for Pike right there. Just getting that hit through that smoke like that.
Yeah, someone check him PC. Should not have hit that shot.
Yeah.
He was not normal. Omen TPing back and forth, doing a little bit of a jig, but Vandy does have an idea that this is happening and is holding a very safe angle. Smoking for their teammates. Once again, I like seeing the Omen actually be more of a team player and not just setting up smokes and weird plays for themselves, but it's Axrid who's actually opening the space. There's still a Fade on site, but nothing to do when you have that many players around you. And now Axrid is ready, holding this front market angle to shut down this retake.
Dismo, though, making their way through mid, seeing if they can find someone to take out. They look for a shot, but they find Axrid as well. That is a huge blow now to Team Ambition, but they still have the advantage in the kill feed. Oh my gosh. Bat is right around the corner. Bartoski is good for Stizmo, and with that, Muggsy gets another kill, and we are at 10. This is now Team Ambition. Like,
now just hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Where did Team Ambition come from on this map? I thought we were at a pretty close game, and now it's whoa, 10-5. Now,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the side of comments here. Let's take a timeout and think about what's happening. Oh, wait, there's not much to think about. It's Ambition running it down. All 3 of these rounds on pistols, they ran it down so they're able to get better guns. And then on the next round, they were able to run it down because they had the gun advantage. And then they're snowballing it at this point. And so Comets are going to need to pull some miracles to actually find an inch back into this one. I've said the same thing about both teams at both times. They both, like, I feel like I've been saying them about both. Like, they just need some heroics at any given point. That's the difference maker. It's just that someone on their team is pulling out their heroics, and Comets need to show that up. The Comets need to be the ones to do that now. I was hoping that Ambition was going to have a completely different look for this half, and they have. They've changed from playing as a team to playing as fraggers.
Yeah, they have. Right. It's like the tables have been completely turned, right? We expected CEC to come in here and to be winning these duels, right? To be the ones showing up, big time in the kill feed, and the team plays coming out from Team Ambition. But right now, they've swapped completely. Team Ambition is just showing such aggression and such dominance with the guns that CEC is just left wondering, what can we do?
And with this early contact in mid, they have a decent read, but the Death Barrel is coming down mid now. They almost spot out Jet. Jet gets spammed a bit from the tag and from her ponytail peeking out a little bit. But they're still going to keep spiraling, and they're going straight through market towards site. And all that's left to greet them is Fade and Omen. And the kills just go the way of Ambition.
Yeah, this is, there's momentum so important in Valorant, right? Not only, because it's literally built into the game with the way the economy works, but just from a mental standpoint, right? Like, this game it's about such high precision that you need to be on your top mental. And right now, I just feel like the Comets aren't there. I feel like they're starting to self-destruct a little bit, starting to fall apart. And, Team Ambition is here for it. They're taking advantage of every single thing they can.
Yeah, Comets haven't been able to give us a good look. They don't know how to respond to what Team Ambition is doing. Comets, they look good when they're hitting their shots, and now that they're not hitting their shots, there's not much for them to do. Dashes up, and with that scan through the smoke, just gets a free kill, and that totally, that's a good new look. It shuts down Ambition at least a little bit, and not allowing them to just run it down into their spawn yet again.
Yeah, exactly. Ecobat gonna be able to find someone in mid, but in the meantime, Pike gonna equalize in the kill feed once again. Bartoski looking to see if they can get a little bit more map control here. They've heard Stismo, barely missing them on the other side of the wall. They're gonna have to peek this effectively. They get him while he's reloading. Spark takes a lot of damage as well. Bartoski coming in huge right now.
but it's Stardust with the perfect spam through the smoke. Right as the smoke went down, they were able to get that shot in, and Ambition haven't been able to get onto site, so this could be Comet's foothold back into the round. They have one person on CT, one in market, so they have good ears cross map on if they're rotating, and well, they have their eyes there now too, but they might walk right into the op shot. Thankfully for Stardust, the op shot does miss, but now they have an idea that the rotation could be coming through, and you can see KO reacting to that immediately.
Yeah, that they are. But Jet going to be hanging back on B, at least for the moment. No, they've heard. They know that the side hit is coming out onto A. Muxy taking a very aggressive position right here, and Vonnie's going to make him pay for it. Now Ecobat not in a position to really be able to plant either. They're going to have to go for the kills. They've been silenced. The knife comes out. They're going to go for the plant anyway. They're actually going to get it down in hell. This is incredible, but they know exactly where they are. They just have to swing this together. Never mind, just one at a time. Vonnie's good for the kill, and with that, the defuse is in.
Because they didn't swing that together, they made it extremely winnable for Ambition.
Yeah, they did.
And it's just by sheer luck and bullet spray RNG that they're able to stay into this one. Sorry, I hate to say it, but that was just a spray battle at the end of the day. Slightly better spray control from Vanny. Keeps them in the round. What I'm thinking, the takeaway, I don't know what they really did to make a difference there other than that opening pick. And maybe it's just that opening pick. It's just, they showed a slightly different look. They used the strat deep from the strat book, the smoke, dash, dart, scan. There's a lot happening there, but they had the coordination to make a difference and to give them the man advantage.
You know, I think you're absolutely right that it was the man advantage that really gave them that round, because we've seen that. We saw that on Breeze. We saw that on Icebox, right? When they were succeeding, it was by getting these early picks, right? By getting that early man advantage. And maybe that's just helping to prevent Team Ambition from getting map control as effectively, right? So Stismo gonna be blinded and forced out back to CT. Gonna wait and peek this corner, is rewarded for it. Axe right out of the equation once again. Mugsy wondering if he should peek the same thing or not.
With Axrid out of the equation, that is what they needed. They needed, one, the man advantage, two, to shut down the raid boss. The Killjoy is going to come through, but they have all of their players rotating to this. There's a little bit of an Omen battle happening in mid, so Omen might get flanked by Omen, but not in time. They just might get the timing on his Jet, and well, now they're able to rotate off of that. But Omen knows this is happening. Spark is there, and is going to be able to get this shot if they don't shoot the molly first. Oh, the spray comes through! Huge from Spark 6, giving them basically this round. They don't have much HP to play with, but they've put it down to a 1v3 and now a 1v2 for Mugsy to do, so it's going to be tough.
30 seconds left.
But is he, no, he's not going to rotate all the way back. No, there's no time, is there?
Yeah, I don't think there's time. Especially because he's going to have to run. Vonnie's going to hear him. They're going to be able to get onto site while he's trying to plant. He's going to take the... What? Okay, there was actually way more time than I thought.
Yeah, there would be no time if he
that was beautiful.
There would be no time if he took the safe route, but instead he goes right through this middle and lands both of the shots, winning Team Ambition a round they should not have been able to get. It is the rotation. It's the rotation through mid, and it's the peeking into the spawn to give them the space. He knows, okay, they probably heard me running, so I'm not gonna give them too much space. I'm not gonna fake plant, because then I'll just get pushed. Or I'll just take site first. And Mugsy, well, I guess they're all right on the chamber after all.
That was fantastic. I really liked that play. And now look at this, right? The top 3 players for Team Ambition are now equalizing the kill feed of the top fragger for the comments. This is just a completely different Team Ambition. They just needed to get warmed up, apparently, right? Because they have just come back and forced these last 2 maps. Stardust goes for all the knives, I think. I think that was 5. I don't think they're left with any now. Bartoski gets a kill after a nice paranoia. Mars throws out the Seeker, or the Crawler? I forgot the name of that one. Doesn't find anybody from it.
Prowler, yes.
Prowler. Thank you. Quick push on the site, but in a flash, in a blink of an eye, it is over. Team Ambition takes the win.
They just had absolutely nothing left in the tank. I was like, okay, maybe they'll have some adaptations. No. The second half, there was just run away with from Team Ambition. Like you said, they started out slow, but that's okay. They had us in the first half, not gonna lie, but we brought it back, and they brought it back incredibly strong. Just nobody was hitting their shots at the end of the day on the side of the Comets. They're pushing at mid with 2 people, no knives, no rifle shots. They're just flabbergasted. Nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
What a crazy game. And what a way for Act to finish it off. I mean, that game, it was like watching, I don't know what I'm watching, but because let's quickly run over how our night went before we get any further. So in our first game, we saw Comet, they came in, they were facing up against Act, and they did manage to find their footing, and they had a fairly dominant victory. It didn't feel like they crushed the opposition, but they controlled the game. They were around, they were there, and we were like, okay, they are a strong team. Then it went from all the way on Comet's side, and they seemed to meet in the middle for our second game, where Act just battled against Comet, and we went so close to almost going into an overtime, but Act found room to just crush them before they found the opportunity to get there, giving them the first round in their series. So both teams tied 1-1 as we walk into our third game, and it wasn't very close. It was a crazy game.
Starts making a bit of an X, like you're saying, like
that's it.
One went down, the other one went up. We had a crisis point, and then they went completely different directions, and that allowed Ambition to run away with it. Just thinking about the scoreboard, Axrid so high up, 27 kills and 3 deaths. They activated all 5 levels of the champions Phantom. People are complaining that people aren't going to get up there. Well, Axrid is. Axrid's going to get to see every little bit of that because they're a Smurf, they're a raid boss, they're activated. Axrid activated. I love using the word activated. But
Axrid didn't just activate their Vandal, man. They activated like something in their mind. I don't know. You have to be crazy to achieve that many kills on a game.
Yeah, they just nobody's even close from the other team.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable.
That was just such a dominant showing from Team Ambition, and what a way to bring it back. I mean, it was like watching 2 completely different teams, right? Between the beginning and the end of this match. And let's take a look at some of these clips from Ambition as well, right? Let's see, some of the highlights from this from map 3.
No, the classic 1v1 clutch just peaking too soon.
Yeah.
This is where it fell apart. This is the moment it spiraled, I can tell.
Right. Yeah, it's 4v4 right here.
Both Omen players felt pretty strong throughout this game, though. I have to say, throughout every single game on the side of Ambition, Bartolowski felt like just a pest every single time I saw them on the screen. They were always making some crazy flank play, defending the most annoying corner and denying the best opportunities. But at the same time, Spark, someone who you said was important to look out for, Juggle, was also a fairly standout player that game on the Omen and just couldn't really show their stuff with the team.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love that that do we saw around again, I just have to call it out that we saw around Boathouse. That was just hilarious. That was just incredible.
Yeah, you can hardly follow what's going back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the round where the Omens are walking around each other, like we saw in the replay, and it felt like that happened so many times. The teams were just totally unaware and at the same time completely aware about where the other person is going to be playing, and that's how it ends up just getting flipped flip the script. It's Team Ambition taking the win when it very could have easily been Comets at the end of that last match.
And something you see so much in Valorant games, I just think it's so fun to watch, is especially when we I'm about to break the fourth wall of production here, but when we can catch the camera on top of the arrow and we can fly it over, keep an eye on it. Some of those are crazy, man. How do you figure them out? I didn't realize Pythagoras had come back to life and started playing Valorant, man. There is some crazy stuff. Juggle, surely you can. I mean, with the training you've done, you could do these in real life as well, yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny you mentioned that because, like, I love lineups. Like, I play for lineups, actually. And I sit there and I enjoy making them. I enjoy finding them. So I don't know how you did it, but you pegged me for that right on the money. But I don't know. I just think they're so unique. They're so fun. And that's certainly one I haven't seen before. You know, it actually reminds me, there's a beautiful one for Brimstone on Pearl, actually, that works very similar to that. You can actually throw your molly in one direction, bounces off some tower, comes completely over again onto site and hits Spike. I love them. I love them. I think they're great.
It's those edits where someone shoots a Sova shock dart and it goes pew 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 like across 5 maps. Then eventually it lands and gets the kill. But with that map win, their Ambition is already putting themselves in a good spot, setting themselves up strong to do well in this Group B side and potentially move on to the second part of the tournament. They've been in this tournament before, and now they're showing this time they're back for vengeance.
Yeah,
we're getting our chances.
They've taken second. They've taken fourth, right? They want first.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say, Juggle. Exactly what I was going to say. We're getting our chances to see these teams sort of get their spot, show their action. And this is only 2 of the teams in our group tonight. And as you said, Ambition came second in the playoffs 2 splits ago. They came 4th in 1 split ago. And this time, with the power that they're bringing out, especially if Axe can bring a performance like that time and time again, I mean, it is going to be a nice, comfortable split for them.
Yeah, just incredible performance. And we're putting a little graphic to talk about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and jump the gun. Axrid. We keep saying their name. I think they're going to become a bit of a household name on these Valorant broadcasts because someone needs to double check. Is this his main account? I'm really not sure with how well he was able to perform.
Well, you know, I mean, I think in our notes, hold on, I want to go back and pull those up real quick. Our notes from beforehand. Where did I put those? Yeah, I mean, I think we even said Axrid is last season's regular season MVP. So
wow.
I mean, frankly, already a household name, right? And so we got to see why Axrid was last year's MVP. I mean, that was insane.
But that just begs the question: are they going to, if Axrid was performing just as well in last season as they did tonight, are they relying too much on Axrid? Is it needing to have Axrid be the fragger? Because if they're just as good as they were, what has changed? How are they going to be able to win this circuit, this tournament, as opposed to last time if they have this sort of the same lineup?
Maybe it's I mean, again, the biggest thing tonight is the team's mentality and how they play as well. And obviously we had some brilliant standout players, actually kind of embodying the common idea of just getting some brilliant individual standout gameplay. But Team Ambition are focused on what they're named after. They are a team and they have ambition. Perhaps focusing on that team play, which is such a vital aspect of so many shooters, being able to spread out, being able to communicate, that's how they're going to find their path. I mean, Juggle, what was the most standout thing you saw from Team Ambition tonight that you felt coming through the screen?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I did put you on the spot, you know, Easel, if you have an answer as well to give Juggle God a chance to analyze it, you're more than welcome as well.
No, I've got one. It was the first round on the map switch on Ascent. That was the standout moment for me. And that to me was when Team Ambition just said, we're winning this game. Right here, right now, we're winning this game, right? As soon as we swapped sides on Ascent, it was just over, right? It was like a completely different team. They looked so dominant from there. So to me, it was that moment, it was that round that stands out in my mind.
They like I was saying, they won that round. And so they were able to buy into next, ran down the next round, bought into next, ran down. They were like, all right, let's just get all these guys and let's get them right now. We do actually have a graphic here to show Axel's thing that did get finalized by production. So let's go ahead and look at that just to look at this impact.
Wow.
Those are Smurf numbers if I've ever seen them. Axrid going crazy.
That's a big number. That is a big number.
Yeah, and not
3 to
just
1
KD.
Yeah, 3 to 1 KD.
It's not just in this map. They were positive in all 3 maps, going 18-7, 19-19, which is positive, and then 27-3, which is what brought them over the finish line. That's insane.
Those are monster stats. Absolutely monster stats.
I mean, I don't have a choice. I have to keep Axrid as my player to watch moving forward into this next one.
Yeah.
Like, you can't argue anything else.
No.
No, I don't think you can. Yeah, it's, for the teams that are going to have to go up against Team Ambition, right? The biggest question you need to be asking yourselves is, how do we counter Axrid? Right?
Yeah, it's not how do you counter anyone else. It's just Axrid, because if you let Axrid do what Axrid wants to do, you're done. You're just dead.
Axrid will win the game. Yeah.
So yeah, Team Ambition, if they can fill all their slots and complete every role, I mean, they already have Axrid to kill everyone on the other team, which is probably a pretty difficult role. But being able to support Axrid as well as trying to reach his level, a good balance is what's going to bring this team forward. And besides that, so we have Axrid as our player to watch. That was a brilliant series of games. Was there any final comments you guys really clicked or you wanted to share about the two teams?
I'm not counting out the other side. I'm not counting out the Comets. I really thought they were going to run away with that 2-0. If I'm being completely honest, I wasn't aware in the moment just how much Ambition had yet to bring us. And so if you're Comets, don't sweat it. Come back next week and you can definitely get a map on the board and a chance to get out of groups.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the case as well. And to further that comment, I want to say too that if the Comets can just take a broader look right at their gameplay, then they can level up as well, right? Because I think if they're gonna, if this season goes well for them, if they see themselves make it into playoffs at some point in time, they're likely coming up against Team Ambition again, because Team Ambition just looked incredible tonight. They've made playoffs 2 seasons in a row. And with what we've seen tonight, I think they're making playoffs again. So, they're going to have to come up with something else. And I think, taking some of those broader looks at just overall strategy, map position, map control, things like that, if they can start to level up that side of their gameplay, then they can absolutely be a top contender in this tournament.
That's right. So, I mean, we've seen ACT. They've made it to playoffs 2 seasons in a row. They are looking to make it their third. Comment, a brilliantly strong team. You heard it from Easel. They are fantastic and they have a lot of potential. Regroup, recommunicate, come through for the next couple of rounds. No one is written out yet. And that is what we have here at the Victoris Rival Series. This is what we're going to get when you come and watch us. So make sure you come back every week to see our crazy games. And if you enjoyed any of our crazy antics, follow us all on Twitter. We have Easel. We have Juggle God, they are all just below our names, and we have Quicksand. There's a cool underscore at the end there. Oh, don't miss that one. Besides that, thank you all for coming tonight. I had a wonderful time casting with Juggle and Easel, and thank you to Rhino again for making the broadcast possible. Thank you to all the players for coming in, and good game to them all tonight. And thank you to Victoris for running the show. I hope you'll have a wonderful night. You get a cup of tea. You get in your warm bed and you sleep wonderfully. And we'll see you all next week.
Yeah, I'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.